Here we are. We're live. Hello, everyone. I'm going to be doing our
Yay.
normal starting things. But let's see what's going on in the world. Gemma, what's up with you? What do you got? You got exciting things? Maybe I'm going to be tweeting
Well,
and
what? Well,
talking.
you're busy, aren't you? I was about to say we should talk about why you weren't with us last week, but we can talk
Oh,
about
oh no.
that later.
Give me a second for that. I'd love to talk about that in detail,
Yeah, right.
but give me a
Um,
minute.
but I can't think what has been happening this week. I was definitely in existence.
Ooh,
Literally nothing has happened, which
being
might be a good thing in 2024. I'm gonna not gonna lie.
I was going to
The
say
less that
being
happens, the
calm.
better.
Calm can be very worth it depending on what you're doing.
No, it's not calm. It's just I don't have any commentary. I haven't. I mean, things have annoyed me in the world, but nothing more or less than normal. I noticed we sent Liz Truss over to you at CPAC, so
Oh God. Oh my
good luck.
God.
Good luck with that crazy.
It's all so
My
bad.
favorite, my favorite that she was like it was a left wing conspiracy against me, and that's why conservatives don't get into power. And I'm like,
But
you
conservatives
were
have
the
been in power
prime
forever.
minister. You were the prime minister, and your party has been in power for 14 years. So, you know, if you're not conservating the way you want to conservative, I don't think that's the left wing's fault. It might be your guys' fault. That's all I'm going to say, I guess. If it
No,
was a
it's
really, but the thing is, she's not saying anything sensible, and this is a trajectory that this type of person who just has failed upwards to the point of there's nowhere left to fail. Um, that's the trajectory they take, right? For British people, they just talk and talk, and I mean, no one in this country is going to forget that she managed to crash the economy catastrophically, and we're still suffering the fallout now. No one is going to forget that, so she
no.
can't say these things here. So of course they then take a plane over to America where they love our accent, and then but then they hype up the nonsense, right? Because they're being paid. They're being paid to talk nonsense.
Sure.
So she says even bigger nonsense, nonsense that makes no sense to us because it's American nonsense. It's not our nonsense, but they just want to hear it in an English accent. It's just crazy.
I mean, this all makes unfortunately way too much sense to me.
Mm.
Yeah, you see this whole like ridiculous world of I guess it's time for me to do the conservative circuit, and so I'm just gonna start saying these things. Like it doesn't matter whether they're true or not. I'm just gonna start saying
I mean,
them.
I would like to say I don't personally think that we would consider American
That's
conservatism
right. Thank you. Thank you.
anything like British conservatism. I'd like to point out because yeah, you know, some of the stuff, for example, I'd like to
What?
point
What?
out
No,
that
go
it
ahead.
was
Don't be
it was
delicate about it. Let's do it. Don't
no
be
okay.
delicate
So
about it.
so so the Brit, it was the British Conservative Tory Party that brought in gay marriage.
Okay.
And their motivation was it is not our business what people do,
Wait a minute. That sounds
right?
reasonable. That sounds like vaguely
That
sensible.
but to me that's a conservative value, that you give people as much freedom as possible to live the life they choose. Now I don't
Is
see
that
that happening in the American conservative area, right? And that is why Liz Truss does not belong to British conservatism.
is that like I'm so
Okay,
confused.
Dung Fung does have a good point that many Tories did vote against gay marriage. However, there was a conservative prime minister who managed to push it through. That's politics. That's a parliamentary democracy, and that's yeah.
Sure. I mean, if it wasn't the overall party position, I feel like there's some room for
I think
understanding
I
there.
think
Not
they gave them a
understanding, but like,
free vote. So I think Dongfang might know better than me. So in the UK at least they have a whip, and so depending on the strength of the whip, the members are expected of that party expected to vote in a particular way. However, every now and then they will give a free vote. So, for example, we're coming up for a free vote against the decriminalization of abortion. And I know that sounds crazy to you guys because abortion is legal in this country. However, it can be a criminal act if not done in the right way. Does that make sense?
if not done in the right, is that like about timing? Is that I'm not sure what that
So
ends up
so
being
they
about.
so that we call it telemedicine. So recently, due to COVID, women wanted to get access to abortion pills that they couldn't get access to because they couldn't attend hospital. So we made this exception that you could call a doctor and they would send them to you so that you could have an abortion before 10 weeks, I think it is, using these abortion pills. And then they maintain that system. And now the problem is that some women misjudging how many weeks they have been taking these abortion medications, not realizing that they may be 26 weeks gone, for example. And that would be
Oh,
an illegal abortion, if you see what I mean. That's a criminal act.
I see. I see.
And so, lots of conversations, maybe we should make it so women have to come back into the doctor's surgery again. I don't know. It's an interesting debate, and that's
That's a
going to be a
challenging
free
one. Yeah,
vote. That's
that's a
going to be a
challenging
free
one.
vote, as I think it should
Okay,
be,
I'm done
quite
with our I'm
rightly.
done with our advertising.
But yeah, anyway, I just that's my line now. I think that British Conservative, I mean, again, I just don't think that any British Tory member would open up that we should make abortion illegal again.
Well,
It's just not a conversation that would be had sensibly. Um,
well, that is
yeah, Reki,
complicated
it's a
with
little bit like
lawmaking.
that. It's a little bit like that. That it's technically a crime unless you go through some steps, right? And those steps tend to be, so it depends. I think before 10 weeks, it's easier. After 10 weeks, then you have to have two doctors sign off on it. And doctors aren't obliged to participate in an abortion if they're not comfortable with that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird.
It's I mean it's not the most comfortable position, but I think it's kind of worked, if you know what I mean. I
Hmm.
think the problem is for doctors as well, because they have the Hippocratic oath, right? So there's always this argument about, is this doing harm or is this not doing harm? And we have that same conversation about assisted suicide, right? Can doctors really provide suicide assistance when they've given an oath to do no harm? And then, of course, back to this definition, well, what does harm mean? And of course, harm is
Right.
going to be different depending on whose perspective you are. I also sort of, I know some people might not agree, but I also, I don't disagree, but I find the idea of assisted suicide very difficult. Um,
No, I agree that it's very, very challenging. Like
yeah.
it's hard to think. No one wants anyone to suffer. Like
No,
forcing someone to suffer seems terrible, but there also seems like there could be some problems around how it gets implemented or
exactly,
administered, and then
exactly.
you
It,
can look at this weird nightmare society where certain people are like urged, this is a terrible thing where people are just like, well, you should do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's
exactly.
like,
That's my concern. I'm like, no one has given me a situation where it can be applied in a way that would make me feel comfortable. Um,
so speaking of assisted suicide, do
so
we have a
yeah.
game to take a look at? Because we
Well,
can talk a little bit more about stuff.
I thought we were gonna do a quick news story from the world of Mahjong Twitter.
Oh wait, what's from the world of Mahjong Twitter? I'm sorry, did I miss
Well,
something?
it's not Mahjong Twitter necessarily. So there was a recent bust this week of an
Oh.
online mahjong client that was allegedly allowing Japanese residents to gamble on its portal. It was a big bust. I think they've
Do we
got
have
6 or 7 people who have been
the article? You sent me an
arrested.
article about this, right? Let me see.
Yeah, I can send you another article if you want.
Here we go. Let me see if I can get this. Let me see if I can pull this up. So
See,
we have.
this is very white brain commentator to bring up a an article and talk about it. I'm definitely feeling a bit Sargon of Akkad here.
Oh boy, I like that. That's good. Let's get in with that. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah,
We have
sorry.
Twitter police arrest 7 on suspicion of running illegal gambling site.
I see. I really
Oh,
object that
this is
they've got a
Texas
poker
Hold'em.
site here.
Yeah, like what is that? Why they can't even get an actual picture of the site? Um,
Have they named it? Have they not named it?
no, they say the company operating Dora Mahjong.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I can't see. Um, yeah. So some people here may have played on Dora Mahjong. It's quite a large portal. But they have been. What I find quite confusing. This is all alleged, by the way. So I do find it quite interesting that they've been operating this model for 10 years. And now
And
the
only
police have
now.
decided that they are going to swoop in and do it. So I think Dora Mahjong made some of their own statements yesterday on Twitter. They claim, or what they're saying here is that the Dora Mahjong company is 100% owned and operated within Europe. The only thing that they have in Japan is the support team, and they offer support to customers around the world. What does this one say? God, this has got a kanji, doesn't it? All right. So yes, it's an Isle of Man gaming license. and they're regulated, and they've got, I guess they've ring-fenced player money, all of the stuff that you would expect from an Isle of Man registered gambling
Oh,
company.
interesting. So what they're saying is not we didn't gamble. They're saying we did gamble, but we did it in a way that's legal.
Mm. Yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, I've always it's interesting. I've had conversation with this about with people before that the issue might more be that you're encouraging people to gamble, which is also illegal in Japan.
Yeah, let me see if I can
So
find
if
their
you
Twitter.
so if you look at so if people say if like professionals do appearances in Janso, they never say come and play with me in the Janso. They always say I'm at XX Janso, right? Because then they're not encouraging someone to come out to the Janso. They're just saying I'm at this Janso. You can come if you want, or you don't have to come. It's up to you then, right? Sorry,
I thought they were
my
just bad at advertising.
no, I mean they're very careful. People are very careful to not be in a situation where they could be considered to be encouraging gambling. Sorry, my battery seems to be. Why is the battery thing flicking on and off? But it's. I wanted to kind of put it here as a sort of a cautionary tale for the West as well, because I see more and more people sort of pushing alongside those grey lines, um, and they might be fine, or they might not be. And
No,
sometimes
this.
I'm worried that people are not entirely aren't entirely aware that they are pushing against, blind. I think people live in this kind of world where they think that law is very black and white. And it is when you look at it written down and you create, but the law is a very poor interpretation of the real world, right? And so people create an interpretation of their reality that makes what they're doing legal. However, the application of the law can be very nuanced, and it's not as hard a fast a thing as one would hope. Does that make sense?
Well, this site overtly
Oh,
says they're
you
gambling. Like I'm looking at the website for it here. I can bring it back over here. They have a whole bunch of stuff, but they're straight up
mm,
just like responsible
oh,
gaming, like don't gamble what you can't afford to lose. Like
yeah.
they're pretty straight up about this is a gambling site. We are gambling. So it seems like they are
Yeah, well, they
Twitch, don't
registered. They
ban
said
us
they
because we're
registered in
not
the Isle of
encouraging
Man.
this. We're just reporting on it for facts.
Yeah. Oh
Um
yes. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. Not. I'm not giving legal advice to anyone
no,
whatsoever.
but
But
what these people are saying straight up is that what this is gambling. So they haven't even tried to hide it. I don't know why they've done it for 10 years and no one cared until like yesterday. But they are definitely saying like gambling is what we're doing here. They are saying.
why is my battery not behaving? Sorry, I might have to
Uh-oh.
restart my computer.
We'll be Gemma-less for a while.
Yeah, I don't. It says it can see it, but
I'll
it's
be
just sort
Gemma.
of flashing on and off. Oh, it's stable. I must have a dodgy connection on my charger. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was an interesting kind of snippet of news that happened. Like the Japanese comment people on Twitter are not talking about it that much for the same reason I think I said like 3 weeks ago was that reporting on these things can be, you don't want to be caught potentially slandering someone.
Right. Right.
Um, so you don't, but this is obviously published in the regular news. So this is information, and I've told you what Dora Marjong have said for the purposes of fairness. I don't know. I have no idea what the
Yeah,
legal
that's a good
situation
question. How
is.
long have they been doing it? Not
Uh,
advertisable in Japanese.
about 10 years, I think. Oh, the customer service
They
officer.
take a
Oh, yes,
rake.
that's true. That's true.
These
Doesn't
are
mean
all
that
things.
they're.
So just for the record, in the U.S., taking a rake, in New York State, taking a rake of mahjong games has been expressly declared to be gambling because taking a rake is gambling.
Yes.
Just so people know where some of these lines are, right? Like taking a
I
rake is
think it's
for
the
sure
difference
bad.
between a square game and a raked game, right? So a square
Yeah,
game is where again, I don't know. Some jurisdictions will allow you if everyone sits down, gambles within themselves as a social group,
right,
and walks away from the table, and all of the money that went on the table comes off with the
right.
players.
Like if I as the house am not profiting from it, then I'm obviously not running a
But you're
casino.
not the house if you're not taking a rake. You're just
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like
you're
if,
you're
if
you're running an event.
yeah. If there's no owner of the event that's getting profit out of the gambling, then it's just people gambling against each other, and that's I guess not a casino, because
Well, I think
there's no
yeah,
point to me running a casino where I don't get the gambling money.
I mean, I think a lot of jurisdictions have these odd carve-outs where if it's a group of people who know each other
Yeah.
and are gambling within their limitations amongst themselves, then I guess it comes more to the point of like, is it worth enforcing
Well, yeah,
anything?
they don't want to be kicking down the door on like you and your buddies playing poker in your house. You know, like no one cares about that. It's really about gambling in a structured way or on an industrial scale, maybe is a way to do it.
Well, the Molly's game situation, oh yeah, well, where she was taking a rake, and there were huge amounts of drugs involved, and gangsters. So yeah, it's one of those things where if you're doing something a little bit sketchy, you probably don't want to be involving very sketchy things near you. Um,
I mean,
but so I mean, it kind of reminded me like this was some years ago. Was it 15 years ago when and Pez might know this one when several big poker sites got into big trouble in the United States because they were allowing gambling through their portal in jurisdictions. States is not one jurisdiction, right? It's multiple jurisdictions. In one jurisdiction which did not allow gambling, um, but the way they were doing it was like they were basically laundering the money through massive white goods. um, but yeah, it took out a whole company, Pocket Kings, from that. Yeah.
really.
But yeah, it's again, they argued that everything they were doing was legal.
Hmm.
And then all the poker sites got seized. But I understand that, so for example, PokerStars tends to be a very, the right side of the law. I know that they have PokerStars.net, right? And that's what you can access in the US if your jurisdiction does not allow gambling, right?
Okay.
But you can trust us is the least
Yeah,
trustworthy
you can
headline.
trust us. You can trust us.
If you've got to say it, I'm
I
worried.
actually appreciate this tribute to my old world ancestors that the buy-in is composed of a fee and a beat. Just come with your money and just a beat for the house, I guess. Um, yeah, this is all
Yes.
just how to play mahjong, basic stuff.
Oh, I mean, it's that they are regulated in the Isle of Man, so I imagine that everything they're doing is perfectly compliant with the Isle of Man regulations.
Probably, and
Um,
again, this site is very clear. Play real
but
money online mahjong.
this is part of the interesting problem, I think, when you are operating things across jurisdictions. It's something that WRC to an extent has struggled with, and why we are very cautious about anything, is that what you could do in one area, you can't do in another area.
Hmm.
Um, you don't want to get people into so and Dave will soon discover is that GDPR follows Europeans wherever they go.
That stuff sucks, man. Just let us have your data. No one
It
cares about
doesn't
you.
make sense why we'll get so upset about it. The only thing we ask you not to do is sell it on. Just keep it to yourselves, and you don't have to worry about GDPR. You
But
are
I want to
compliant.
sell it. I want to make money and sell it.
All
I
right,
gotta
Zach.
get
All right.
profits.
All right, Zach. All right, all right,
All
all
right.
right.
So this is bad, and it happened. This was the big mahjong
No,
scandal.
yeah, I thought we barely does Mar. And see, this is the real unfortunate thing is that when Mahjong hits the main newspapers, and I think it hit everything, right? I mean, let me check.
Yeah.
I'm in Japanese now for some reason. It hit. We never get the good PR. So I
No.
mean,
And
yeah,
it's unfortunate. There's so
Japan
many.
Times, Mainichi. I thought I saw some. I thought I even saw some bigger ones, Western news outlets as well had picked it up, but maybe not.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything in most Western news outlets at least.
Okay,
It's
but I
just
mean,
been.
Japan Times is a fairly big sort of, and that's the problem, right? This is what we get known for, yakuza, irritating little shits doing things they shouldn't, and it's such a struggle to clean up mahjong. It's such a struggle.
It's really really hard, and yeah, I don't know.
And the last major headline I remember about mahjong was when that lady in Osaka, that politician, complained about the big adverts they had for Mahjong Seoul, because they had huge adverts at the station for Mahjong Seoul of the sake girls, who are, of course, all minors and not allowed to drink alcohol in Japan, dressed as Playboy bunny girls serving alcohol.
Well,
Um, and she complained, and she said, well, like, is this really what we should be having in our main station? And
But
and again, but that became a big scandal. Everyone was talking about it. Like, people who didn't give a shit about mahjong were talking about it. Um,
I
Again, it's sad. I want a positive thing about mahjong. When chess comes out into the world, it's because Netflix have done an amazing TV show about it. Um, yeah, I want our niche hobby to come, and when it comes out into the open, it's a good thing.
oh my god, Discord
And
deleted that image. That's crazy.
we need to slander chess. Yes,
Yes, yes,
yes,
yes.
Chiral.
Let's
This is
stop
what we
pulling
need to do.
ourselves up. We're gonna take chess down.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how this is
yeah.
gonna happen. We're gonna
That's the way
take
to do it.
chess down.
Right, Go, shogi, chess. Is there anyone else we need to get rid of? Yeah. To be fair, chess does
Yeah.
have plenty of scandals. It's true.
There's been like a weirdly large amount of chess gamble scandals. I'm sorry, cheating scandals.
Gamble. No. Cheating scandals.
Cheating
Yeah.
scandals. Yeah, I'm very surprised by that. By how much there's been going on there.
I'm waiting for the waifu collecting chess game.
Please don't even say that out loud. You're gonna make it happen. Don't. Just let it be. I don't want to even have to think about
Maybe
that.
we
My
should
head
make it
hurts.
and rake in the cash. Just imagine. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe we just need to take everyone down with us.
Yeah. No.
It's just a shame. I think, like, okay, you're right. You do get chess scandals, but they have the positive and the negative news. I don't think I've ever seen a big headline that was positive for mahjong.
We're working on it. I'm working on it. We're gonna get those going on.
That's what I
We're gonna
need.
get those going on. That's what we gotta do.
Gotcha for every chess piece. I am surprised
What you
mahjong's
do
so,
is you
like,
take
rather than have a warnish, you just have a gacha machine, and you have to put money in to get your next
take
tire.
the pieces you capture and give them to the waifus, but different waifus only like different pieces. So you're gonna have to get the right pieces to make your waifus happy with you. That's what you gotta do. I can't. I hate that I know that that's how it would work.
I just, yeah, I feel like there must be more to it, more ridiculousness. Like, you got to make the right moves, otherwise she gets upset
Oh,
and leaves.
all right, what do we got for do we got a cool mahjong game to talk about?
I mean, I can give you one if you want
Let's
one. I
get
didn't
one. Let's
prepare
get
one.
one.
I can give you one from the last league game I played for Jenkin one, or you can give a league one.
I'll start looking. You can start looking.
I'll just take the first one I've got. Oh, it was really stressful, these games, I seem to remember. Oh, these were big games, that's why. Okay. I didn't win, so
Oh well,
it might be
we don't want to see
interesting.
games where you don't win.
I know, so we can really criticize me. That's a good one.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's criticize Gemma. Copy
Oh,
link
nice.
address. Nice.
It's like that TikTok guy who looks like that's my new thing that I'm into is the guy in China on TikTok who looks a lot like Elon Musk.
Really?
Yeah, I find him quite enjoyable.
I can't believe you're on TikTok.
Well, we're on TikTok as an org.
I can't. Every time people tell me you should try TikTok, I try, and
No,
I'm
don't
like,
try to. It's terrible. Like it's just this giant swamp of garbage.
exactly. And none of the content. I just don't want to see any of the content. I'm sorry. I think I'm old now because I really do just like Instagram.
No, I just hate that stuff has become crappy. Like I'm not old. Okay, I'm old, but I'm not old. I'm enlightened. Like I feel like when I was a kid,
I'm
when I was a
enlightened.
kid, I always wanted to see new stuff because there
Mm.
wasn't that much stuff. So I was always like, "Oh, new stuff! I'm so curious. What is the new stuff? I want to see the new stuff." Now I may or may not like it. You know, talking about friggin' Skibidi Toilet, like that's dumb as shit. Like, fine, whatever. You like
Oh,
the
do you know
Skibidi
what?
Toilet.
I thought that was quite interesting, actually. I spent some time watching that.
It's like
I thought
metaphysically interesting, but it's silly. Fine.
it's silly. It's silly, but you know what? For that, I'll argue that. I'll argue that that is different, interesting content It might be art. It might be art. I don't
Yeah,
know.
all right, I can't even disagree with that. But my problem with all this stuff is just like now there's this infinite deluge of stuff that people just make, and they don't care if it's good or not. And we're called, I'm a
Right.
content creator. I'm a creator. It's like a desecration of the word creator. Like God is a creator. God made all of life. Pablo fucking Picasso, I don't really love his work that much, but at least created. You're not creating. You're talking into a phone and assuming anyone cares. It's not creating anymore. It's just stuff. It's just infinite shit to
Yeah,
be
I mean
jammed through the pipes.
they're vlogs. They're vlogs, and they've made themselves into creators. And I don't think a vlog is a creation.
I'm just like, this is not creative. You're making content, but content just literally means any stuff at all. And so the excitement of seeing new things is so dulled by the fact that all this new stuff is just anything. Anything
Okay,
anyone thought
well,
they'd wanted to
and
crap out into the. Ugh.
now we're going to
Oh.
add AI to the mix. It's going to get darker.
Well,
It's
honestly, it's going to be a huge labor-saving device. Now humans don't have to make content anymore.
right, right. You
Think
say
about
that.
think about all these poor children spending 20 hours a day as slaves in the content mines, getting like meme cancer. Now
But
they don't have to do that
right,
anymore. The AI
they're
has set them
using this. They're
free.
using this AI in just the most reductive way possible. I mean, I have to be honest. I find AI. I've worked for AI engines or whatever they're called, large language models. I have prepared data sets for them, and I thought, oh well, do you know what? This could be a very good tool.
I mean,
And
it's going to
now,
end up being a very good tool. We're going to find
uh,
useful uses of it. It's going to end up being a
okay,
good tool.
okay,
I think that is a fact.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. However, what really is happening now is they're getting the artificial intelligence to do the things that humans like doing. And for some reason, I still have to fucking iron my clothes. This is my problem. Get the fucking shit to do so. And that's going to be the real tragedy of this all. All the stuff that the robots can't do, the really delicate stuff, all the stuff on the production lines that they can't get the robot to do because it's not cost efficient to do it,
Hmm.
we will still end up doing. So
Hmm.
we're going to, most of the C-suite we could probably now replace with an AI. And so what are humans going to, we're all going to be doing the jobs that we didn't want to do.
I don't think it's that easy. I think again the real
Mind
issue
you,
is
I don't know who wants to be in the C-suite. If you want to be in the
I would love
C-suite, good luck.
to be paid to be in the C-suite, but
I'd
yeah,
love
I
to be
want to get
paid
paid to
and
be in
not
the
go to it.
C-suite. But AIs
um,
can't write poetry. AI again. Everyone thinks that the. I even hate the use of the term AI. It's a dumb term because what it's doing is expressly not intelligent.
no, it's
It's
not
just
intelligent.
a super large version of what you can do on your phone right now. If you take your keyboard on your
Yeah.
phone and you write hello and you'll see a suggested next word and just keep hitting the suggested next word over and over and over and over again, that's what we got. That's what LLMs are. They're just bigger and trained
And
on more stuff.
less predictable. That's the one thing I've always found
And
interesting in
all
my
the
time working for these things
improvements.
is that you put it in now, they have no idea what it's gonna shit out.
Well, they
And
don't
sometimes it's
because
just shit.
they make this massive model trained on so much, which like
Hmm.
I mean, to some degree, yeah, that's an experiment of creating intelligence, right? That's what we are. We as entities are our brain trained on everything we've ever seen and done, right? And we're not predictable. And that from that context, sure, like any intelligence,
Hmm.
any digital intelligence we ever produce is going to be unpredictable because we're going to have this core system. Like, okay, we think we use this core system, and then we extrapolate it out through all the stuff we teach it. Sure, that part makes sense to me. That part I think is true. But these things like all the improvements they claim they're making, like, oh, they're improving it. They're improving it. They're not improving it. They're like patching it with hard rules.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if you see numbers, use this math routine so you don't say wrong stuff about numbers. Like, look, it can do math. Like, it can't do math. It didn't learn to do math. It doesn't know what math is. You put a little patch on it because there's a whole wide range of behaviors that it does wrong, and you're hoping you can catch a bunch of them and kind of filter it. But every little band-aid makes it more obvious that we're not seeing anything that's really intelligent.
Yeah, I don't know. I also worry just about someone told me that was like every 10 prompts, Chat GPT uses X amount of water, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ,
Yeah,
we're
that's
gonna
also
have to stop it.
well, that's 50-50. Like the computational cost is huge, but that'll go down as we do more. Like we will make it more efficient
Right,
because it
right.
will be cost
And
efficient to
yeah,
make it more efficient.
but I will say that I really am getting off the bus of we can trust the technology to solve the problems the technology created in the first place. I don't think we've got time anymore to wait for that. I don't know, like
Eh,
maybe I've just been really super scared this year, because the weather is fucked. My garden is fucked. All of my bulbs not coming up. There's been no frost. There's been no frost.
Most of the
The
big
rain is
carbon
insane.
stuff is not based on computers.
No, I
Like,
know it's not. I know it's not. But if we allow them to keep going, and this is the problem. This is a real problem I think humans have. We make savings, we make carbon savings by making one thing more efficient, and then we immediately consume them with some other dipshit thing we're doing
well,
that
yeah, because
week.
we're not thinking broadly about carbon at all. We don't care. We
No,
care about
because
people making money.
we're trained to consume. Whatever we do, we consume. We're like a plague.
Well, that's why we need
Well,
more
that's really
content,
dark.
right?
I'm
That's
really
why we need more
sorry,
content.
but this is why we don't need Mahjong AI, because people like playing Mahjong. We don't need the AI to play
Yeah,
it for
that helps them
us.
play. Anyway, what do we got? This is.
Okay, back to the
Ugh.
Mahjong. Sorry, guys.
Ugh. This hand's like good enough to have some hope for, but not so good that I'm like psyched.
There's no value.
Pinfu, Tenhou.
Tell you what.
2-pin or 3-man, I think, is what has to go here to start.
I mean, I'd argue the 2-pin because I don't like. I think I've said this before. I don't like collecting
Yeah.
too many tiles on the same Suji string. So hey,
2, 3,
welcome to the
4,
stream.
6, 7, 8.
Humans of the plague.
Humans of the plague. Maybe 3-man because 8-man's useful for Dora. Maybe we
Yeah.
flatten out 5, 7, 7, 8. But now we have 2, 3, 4. Maybe we flatten out 2, 3, 4. Maybe we go to 9. But at this point, I'd be thinking Itsu
Yeah, maybe.
is possible. Okay, we get rid of the 3-man. That makes sense to me. Now we have 4, 5. So maybe now, if we really want to get clever, we get rid of the 8-pin.
See, I think I should get rid of the 3 bamboo here.
I don't think that's a bad play to flatten that out. Or the 9
I mean,
bamboo.
those sort of I'm not really those
Hmm.
pregnant shapes, fat shapes, whatever we're going to call them. Those shapes are really ugly and they're not very helpful. They look helpful, but they don't tend to be as helpful as you imagine they could be.
We cut the 9 out, so now we have better we have 5, 8, which gives us better options on Dora. We don't want 8, 9. We are Tanyaoing the heck out of this, but wow, okay. Sure. Instant sumo. Closed sumo for Haku sumo. I see why they wanted to make this better in some way.
Yeah,
But
I think that's a good dama.
All right. There you go. Bam.
It's a really good dama, that one. Like, I want to take a moment to appreciate that dama.
It's a shame it shut this hand down, but this was a good play.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think other players might have reached that, but it makes me appreciate that this player is a really good player.
Can we do it this time? Do we believe in ourselves enough to say this is a Chanta hand?
Oh, really? Maybe.
Well, we got 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. This 5 and 7. We got 1, 2, 7, 9, 9, Haku, and one of the Dora East. Is it Chanta or what?
Okay. If I'm gonna chant it, then
5-pin.
I have to make a decision about whether I'm calling or not now.
5-pin out. No. Haku out. Boo. South can go.
See, I'm not convinced.
All right. Trade the 5-pin for the 4. That's a structural win.
Maybe I just do this to upset you. Yeah, see, it's not. I told you it's not a chanter.
8. Well, this is not bad. Like you're these getting rid of the 5, 7 for the 3, 4, 5 is a structural win. Like that seems like good trades because it's not even like you're passing up on Chanta tiles. You're just upgrading the structure you have. I think that's actually smart. You're hedging. I mean, no offense, but like that's super smart. You're hedging your bets on everything. We don't call the 1-man.
But I am worried at this point that we're going very slow.
Yeah.
Very slow. For a dealer hand, this has gone slower than I wanted it to.
And now when the 1, 2, 3 comes to town, we start cutting back, which is good.
Yeah, so Charles says notes that no East have been played, so we are very worried about that East.
Yeah, now we can't play it.
And there's only one 3-man left, I want to point out, which is going to cause me a lot of problems, which is why I throw the 2-man here.
All right, so we cut it down to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. We hold the 9-pin, which is.
Well, if I get a 1-man, I can still move it back into a chanter position.
Yeah, that's true. Oy, but now we've hit that point where we are not feeling good about this. With this 2-pin, which we probably it's Suji, but like we really don't want to risk it.
I think you have to put yourself into a folding position here now. You can't see any of the Dora. I'm really slow. I can't go anywhere. And they do it anyway.
Well, they sumo on nothing. It's pin sumo. So it's
Did
a
they
small
throw?
sumo.
Had they thrown a free man?
No.
Okay.
No, I
Okay.
was looking to see
Sorry.
if they had the 9 so for the Sanshoku.
Uh,
But neither of those things happened. All right, another small sumo that shuts us down, maybe earlier than we wanted. It's a little sad,
my
but
hand was too slow. My hand really was not going anywhere.
yeah. Well, this isn't bad. This looks all right.
It's not bad, but it's not great. There's a lot of
5 6
shrapnel there.
7. 5 5 6. We get rid of Chun. Get rid of Chun. 3 5 6. All right, all right, all right, all right.
Apparently, 7 people were watching this match live. It was a pretty big game. I think like 3 of the people on the table, right, were at the top of the rankings for the league. So it was
Now
an
we
interesting game
reach,
to
and
watch.
now we're sad. What are we gonna do? We're gonna throw the 8s. Not sure why, but we. What was the logic on the 8? I mean, you have very little safe anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The 9 pin came out early-ish. She says
Okay.
early-ish.
So we're saying probably they have nothing around there.
And also, it doesn't. I don't have a safe tile. It improves my shape a little bit, and it might be safe-ish. I don't. I obviously can't throw anything near the Dora. The 8 man is not safe because he reached on the. They reached on the 9 man.
Yeah, yeah. So that might not mean anything.
So the only potential read I've got is that 8 pin, and
Well,
it's
now
spurious at
it's super
best. I'm not
safe.
gonna lie.
Okay, well, it's a try. Well, again, you don't have anything else safe, so it's a
Mm.
stab in the dark that you gotta make. North, and another just sumo after sumo after sumo.
Mm.
Reach sumo Pinfu Tanyo.
And that's good for them because they
Yeah,
are
as a
the
dealer.
dealer.
All right, pulls them ahead. Oh yeah, yeah. This is just game after game of just no traction. Frustrating. 4 is a good
No,
draw
but I
though.
haven't thrown into
No,
anything,
no,
so I'm
no,
actually not
no
looking.
destruction, but no traction. Like
No,
every hand
I'm
you
not
get
in a.
looks like it might go.
I'm not in a bad situation. I'm okay here still. I'm still okay here. It's very stabby though, this game. And I remember saying that at the end. I was like, that was a stabby game.
Okay, okay. Ishanten, but dealer calls north, which is worrisome.
Hmm. Oh, they must be going for a
Actually,
flush, right?
yeah,
Flush on
maybe.
the man's right there with that 7 man. That's the flush.
So we're just gonna follow. We're just gonna back down. It seems. South can go. This is a little risky.
No, because you mean for the player on the left is a bit, but
Yeah,
I'm more worried about dealer
but
at
you're
this
not
point.
throwing man tiles, so yeah, it's like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
3, 4, 5. Well, actually, now you're tempai, and we dama this as opposed to reaching it. Um, why is that? We can see 2 6s and a 3 on the table. So out
Because
of our
if I
8
if
tiles,
if I
4 are
draw the
gone.
3 pin, I've got Sanshaku.
Ah, we can upgrade, and if we get away with this 6, we know that upgrade's safe. Okay, so
And
we
that's a
dama,
big upgrade. Big upgrade. 2 extra hand.
but instead we sumo, which isn't bad because it pulls us into second place pretty solidly. But I'm gonna do
No,
it.
it's not.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, it would have been reach Ipat's sumo Tanyao. Reach Ipat's Pinfu sumo Tanyao Dora. It would have been
No,
Hanuman.
so Chiral says this is the theory that Chiral subscribes by. I disagree. I think that if you're going to get Sanshoku, it doesn't matter how many hands. Anyway, like, so Chiral says the theory is that you should have 3 hand of upgrades to justify the Dama. I disagree strongly. I think that you also have to be a Dama is justified if you think that by Damaing it, it's more likely to come out. So there's an argument, of course, that the 3 and the 6 don't look safe on the player who's reached. However, I don't think at this point, and I think
The
is
dealer
no
would
one's
throw it.
exactly. It's the deal I'm worried about, and I think that's where everyone else is worried on this
Yeah.
table. Is
There's a
that
few things.
and the dealer's thrown out the 3 and the 6 here.
A few things here make this Dama more valuable in my eyes. I think there's argument to chase.
Mm.
I don't think chasing. I mean, obviously we can say that it would have come out well, but that's not a good argument anyway. But like, there's already a reach on the table. You've got a hand. You need to make points. You're in last place. Like, chasing, I don't think is a fundamentally unsound decision here.
Mm.
But like, the argument for Dama, you're right. Like, the hand can be upgraded by at least 2 Han, which isn't
Mm.
3 as per Carell's thing. But I think 2 is a reasonable upgrade to even think about. You haven't seen any 3 pins, so the
Mm.
tiles exist somewhere in the world. You have two dangerous players at the table, so Dama gives you the ability to, if you draw a dangerous tile, decide to get the heck out of
Fold.
there if it's real
Exactly.
dangerous. So you're
I'm
retaining
not
your
going
ability to
to.
not lose.
I'm not going to throw
Um,
the Dora into this ever.
yeah, yeah.
If I draw it, I'm keeping it. No, sorry. No, yeah, if not exactly. I'm not saying sorry. I'm misrepresenting what you were saying there. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, let's say I draw the 7 here. I can throw the 4 bamboo
Or frankly, if you draw any man tile
and still
there.
be live anyway.
Um,
So Dunning would reach this hand.
I
Um,
probably would reach this hand. I probably
I
would.
just, I this isn't the hand that I turn this game around on. It's not. It's
It would have
not.
been though.
It might have been. You're
I mean,
right.
again, the rabbit chase is unfair because no one knows the future, right? It's not being like, oh well, you should have known, but like I'm a big fan of chasing and pressure situations like this. Especially the other thing that would have worried me a little bit is that player D-San over here has thrown every man tile. D-San is unafraid of our dealer, and
So
so
what are they? Should open the hands. Let's see what they're doing. Let's see if.
I might have just been like, well, if everyone else is going for it, then I might as well make them think twice and reach. Our dealer is not anywhere near ready.
Gosh.
I think our dealer was just happy to have North and Chun to grab to get a fast
That
hand.
was wow. I mean, that's a good bluff. No, as a dealer, that's a bluff.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
Let's see. We start. Wow. Okay, so we start with all these things. This looks like a flush to me. What's going on, dealer?
Yeah. Why did they back out? That's interesting.
We get rid of the.
So
East
you can easily see
Forso.
why they called the North and the Red
But
Dragon
then we
out of
keep
this.
the Haku over the Forso. Okay. Well, I guess East was pretty much dead. They get rid of the East because East isn't coming. Fine. Get rid of the Forso for the Haku. Get rid of the Haku for the 8-pin. Get rid of the 6-so. So they end up kind of bluffing a flush here already. But it's almost like they're trying to avoid making it clear precisely which suit it is by only throwing so tiles. Okay. But now they throw pin tiles. So now they've basically stated that it's flush time. They grab their thing, but they throw west instead of another pin.
Yeah, but if they can wait on that 7 pin, that is a beautiful bluff.
Which is exactly what they've done.
Yeah.
Okay,
love
I see.
it.
They've
love
gone
it.
to wait on the 7 pin, and now they're. This is interesting, the 6, because I probably would have thrown the 9 here. If only to make it look like my hand was still developing.
I think they wanted to really push that this was a flush, so it's the mans that are safe. So you
mans
don't think
safe.
about the pin at all. So you see the 4 pin, 7 pin, right? Here you go. I like it. I like it a lot. If you'd taken the 9 pin, then obviously it wouldn't come out there. It would have come out of their hand. So then it's more concerning.
So it's not until here where they draw this 8-man that they get nervous in the face of the reach.
Yeah,
and they decide to start throwing the 9-man, which is already safe. So they're just like, all right, see you later.
Yeah, Dunning, I'm a big fan of what the dealer's done here. I think, don't look at me, look at the dealer. That's a strong play. What the dealer's done here is really impressive.
Yeah, I see the bluff they set up there. That's pretty cool.
They set up, and not only do they set up the bluff, they don't overcommit to it. And that's a real skill, I think, in Mahjong, to not overcommit to the direction you've chosen.
Yeah, they took it apart. They took it apart when they didn't feel like it was going to get them somewhere. So that makes sense. I see what happened there.
That's a brilliant. I hate my hand. I love them.
But yeah, player across was not giving a crap. Like player across, I don't know why, but they decided man tiles, hooray, and they just started dealing them over and over and over again. And so yeah, this is another reason why I might have reached this. I might have reached this just because I got to where I needed to go, and like we have 2 players at the table who are fighting.
I think it's tough when you can't see it.
Fighting.
I think it's typical when you can't see in the door, and I can't, and I'm quite right. They are in. There's 2 in one hand and 2 in another hand.
Yeah, it is a scary time for Dora. But interestingly, there's almost no tiles available. Yeah, there's no. This is an empty weight.
Yeah.
Well, it's not entirely empty in that you have 2 of the 4s, and player across has a 4, and the other 2 7s. But these tiles aren't coming out.
No.
So
not
like
easily.
This is actually a completely empty weight. It's a toothless reach. They didn't know that, but
no, I think that's the ASAN. I think that's an easy reach. So there's no way I wouldn't reach what they've done there.
Yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't think twice about that one. Yeah, I think that was a really strong hand played by everyone. I
Yeah.
really find it difficult to criticize. We can have conversations about some moves, but I find it very difficult to criticize what anyone did there,
No, no,
including
no.
myself.
I think this was really, really interesting to see how everyone approached this.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally, I would have reached it just because I would have wanted to push this because I'd be like, this is the
Uh,
moment. I probably also would have been frustrated. My other hands never got anywhere. People just sumo them out from under me. Like, I want to make something happen. This is an opportunity to try to, like, really drive
hmm.
forward. But I definitely could not say that's
Okay,
the right answer here.
if
Anything
I
so
had
bold.
been dealer, or if it had been earlier, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe 4 discards earlier, I would have reached.
Mm. Yeah.
It's late. I'm not gonna reach it. I think I'm okay. And I think, again, that strengthens the argument for Asan's reach is that it's the first one on the table. If I'm in the first to reach again, it's another conversation again. Let's say theoretically the dealer and Asan's discard pools are switched. Then we can have another conversation again about whether it should be reached. Because with
Mm.
the three, I personally I would argue that if the 3 bamboo and the 6 bamboo are in the discard pool for the reach play, you keep Dammer because they're more likely to come up. But anyway, there's lots of
Interesting.
things that can. You say it's very nuanced, right? It's not a black and white. If
Oh yeah,
anyone
there's a lot of
if
thought.
anyone ever tells you that there is a definite right play and a definite wrong play, that person is selling you snake oil, and you should ignore them.
I agree.
Unless it's throwing Dora on the first move and it's not a double reach, those people are wrong.
Throwing Dora's first discard is the strongest play you can make. It just screams your strength out to the table. You're just
Really,
like, I
it
don't
just makes me want to be
need
like, do you
this.
need to see an optician's?
I don't need
Or
this.
like, did you see this? We've all been there. We've
I
all been
know.
there, throwing the door on the first phone, and they're like, oh look, that was the door. That would have been super useful.
I want the option to fold it. Yeah, yeah. I think again, I think I agree. It's a complex situation. I think there's a lot of ways that this can be approached.
Mm.
And yeah, there's no right or wrong answer here. But winning is better. So you won, and now you're in second place, and now we get this. This is not good. Oh, this is even better. Oh boy. Well, double reach from the dealer. I guess we
It
start
doesn't
with the
matter. Nothing
wins.
matters,
Yeah,
right?
we start with the wins and dragons, and we just hope that nothing terrible happens to us because now we're not even playing this hand.
Yeah, Dunning, and I think that's a good point. It's a huge swing if we hit. I'm not a huge swinger, I guess. I guess that's I
That's
think
true.
anyone who watches me play for too long, I tend to be a bit maybe overly cautious in my play style.
All right, so where do we go? What do we do here? 9-pin is actually safe, but we throw the door up. Damn.
No, I'm okay. I mean, first of all, if it's a double reach, they've not built that weight. It doesn't. We don't know what it.
It is
No one's
equally the
worked
door
to
as
do
anything
that.
else. Like they couldn't have
Yeah, they
built
didn't
around
work.
the door because they just got the tiles they
Exactly,
got.
exactly.
I
And no
guess
one
that's
else
true.
has built around it either at this point.
We
The
just get
six
away
has
with it.
come out. I'm fine. Screw it.
One, another reach, a chase from Seasun. Oh my god! And this hand has come together, which is really frustrating for me because I'm like, I sure wish this hand was bad so I could just not play it. And
I
instead,
know,
it
right?
started to happen, and we just huck that 2-pin. We are doing it.
Yeah, I mean, what can you throw out of this that's safe? And if you're gonna do it, you may as well
But
just
then
do
we threw
it.
9-pin to back down.
No, no, no. I'm not backing down. I'm thinking Cheetoy or Toy Toy here.
Eh, eh.
I know. I don't
It's a
think
bit
it's
of
a
a
great.
long shot, but
It is a long shot, but what are you gonna do at this point?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but again, what am I folding with here? I
Oof.
don't have anything to fold, and that's the problem. And this, I think, Dunning, I, I don't, forgive me, I haven't recognized your name very well, but
9-pin is
yeah,
9-pin
and,
is
and I
not
think usually I build
safe.
out, and I think this is where I can see that my play is not how I typically play because usually I've built exits, but of course you're not going to play typically when there's double reach on the table.
9-pin is safe on the double reach, is not safe on the new reach.
No, it's very
That's the
unsafe.
difference. 9-pin is it is fairly unsafe because if I'm going to do a new reach, having it on like a tile that looks safe
Uh,
on the first reach is
yeah.
good for me. But that's it. That's a big if. Also, it's a fast new reach. It's not like they've had all hand to shape that either. So,
Mm.
It's tricky. I was be more psyched to keep the 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, but on the other hand, the 3 is also safe on this, but the 4 as the reach tile makes that 3 look much more scary. And again, if I can wait on a tile that's safe on the double reach to trick it out of someone else, I'm going to. So this 3 glows with danger,
Hmm.
even though it's really kind of what I want to get rid of. And the 4 pin also glows with danger because it hasn't come out. Nothing near it has come out. Like, it's
Yeah.
just a complete question mark. So going with a 9 pin makes sense here. It would pain me to take a step back on this hand, but especially given
I
how well it came
I
together. But
think
like,
I'm probably thinking I can do a cheat toy here if I'm lucky. And that's the only thing I can get unless someone throws something like a 2-man and I can just fold out. I don't have to
yeah,
worry.
yeah, yeah. No, this is just rough. It's just rough. But then someone deals
Hmm.
in with a north, which is also a very clever weight. East and north, great weight. Reach north door pulls second place's points into first place, which is kind of okay for you because it makes
Yeah.
your second place more sturdy.
Yeah.
Makes first place further away, but that's a different story for another time. All right,
And do you know what? I'm not pulling the right tiles. Again, there's a lot of shrapnel in here.
we got 2 sets and a pair right out of the gate. We got 3 sets and a pair. We're each on 10. But yeah, like, what are we gonna do here?
Hmm. I agree, Dunning, by the way. Yeah.
Okay, what do we do? The problem with this hand is it's valueless. We can reach it, and we can win reach and be sad. That doesn't seem like an awesome play, but can we upgrade it either? I don't think we can.
No, I don't think. And it's quite early. I think I reached this.
You
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
You
Good.
do.
Now I guess 1 and 4. I don't know. Maybe I should have reached waiting for the 3 and the 8.
Maybe. You get your 1.
Don't know. Oh well, there you go.
Shut down the dealer. It's just reach. Get points from first place. Get yourself over 30K. Oh, no, not a bad deal. And now you're the dealer, and you got these dragons, which is pretty sick. So, what do we do?
Oh, I remember this happening. Yeah, I remember this.
Well,
Yeah, I'm dealer, and this is not the hand you want for dealer. It's so slow.
it is pretty slow. I feel like we're looking at a flush right now. Or something we can just call and get a move
Call.
on with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to call it. It's really painfully slow, this hand.
It's drifting towards Chitoy, which is really weird.
I need that green dragon. I need it.
Yeah, someone must have it. Someone must be hanging out with it.
So I've held that east because I'm thinking Cheetoy, and if I can wait on the east, it might be cheeky.
It would be very cheeky given that there's one left. Now there's none left, so hopefully you just...
Yeah.
There's your dragon. There goes the east. There's your... So, all right, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah, so now I'm just aggressing, right?
Yeah, well, you got to.
Why not keep 1 man, 1 so? I don't know. Because people have to throw the east out. They don't
No
have to throw the
con.
1 man out. Or the 1 babu. I'm not gonna can. Open can. What'd you take me for?
Well, let's see what it... We'll see later what it would have gotten you. Wait. Oh, you can't call the last tile?
I can't call the last tile.
Oh, that's so painful. Oh,
That's why
no.
I said at the beginning, I remember how this goes, because I
Oh,
remember going, no!
no. So conning would have gotten you a 6 pin, which wouldn't have really helped.
No. Oh,
That is
no.
frustrating to the extreme. I am sorry. That is rough. Where were all your tiles?
Some git had them. Who was
One,
it?
2 was in the dead wall. The 7 pins were all eaten up.
I mean, these are not. It's interesting. Player opposite held that 5. That's good. These are not. These are not good call. I was really hoping that player on the left would throw the 4 or the 7, so I could just call into Tempai. Like, I wasn't thinking I'm going for Toy Toy. I was thinking I just need to be Tempai. Doesn't matter what Tempai
just
is.
need to save this somehow. You missed your Cheetoy, but like, there's no way. I wouldn't have held this east though. I think the east was a giggle too far. Because yeah, if you just not held the east, then you would have gotten to Chitoy Tempai. Even if you then broke it up, you would have been tenpai.
Uh,
Yeah, that's a rough one.
anyway, but I mean that's a big deal. That's probably the point at where I lose this table. Because
Hmm.
that's my second dealership, and there's really not so much I can do in two hands now. Sisan is really locked on the first place here.
Yeah. Short
And
of some
then
huge
and
mistake. I
then
mean, they're not
this
completely out of range.
no, but then this is where you start to get the odd plays to try and grab yourself up to second or first, right? Yeah, I do
Yeah.
have a cheers. I do have a tendency to wait on twice cut honors. Yeah, I know I like it or not. The problem is, and I think coming out of an EMA environment, it works really well there. It might not work in other environments, I think is the argument. Yeah. So if you're going to an EMA tournament, twice cut honors is a great way. They'll throw them for you. Other places, not so much.
Oy.
Now, no one will ever throw a twice cut honor to me ever again at an event now. No, Chiral, you're not thinking. You've got to manifest it. That's your problem. Of course they're going to draw them, and of course they're going to have to throw them. Or I'm going to draw them. Manifest. Manifest. The key to winning Mahjong is just drawing the right tiles. Oh, you're also negative. You're also negative. Of course they're going to come. Of course they're going to come. You just have to think hard enough. Dave's furiously typing to a friend.
I'm typing to someone talking about WRC penalties. Um,
Do
yeah.
they not like them?
Um,
Can I see this message? Are
I,
they like,
I, I
why
can
are
I can
WC
share.
penalties
I think
the
I
worst?
can share the core content of the message. I'm not going to give any specifics about who or what, but it's just for their own privacy.
Yeah.
Basically, shorthand being a chombo in WRC is a very harsh penalty, and for many non WRC events, like it's
Oh no, no.
real harsh.
If you are not a WRC event, you should not do that. How about that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm what I'm responding is yeah. That's why because I feel like a lot of people saw that there's a reduced penalty mod, and they think, oh
Mm.
well, reduced penalties for people who are like chumps or for people who are just beginners or whatever,
No.
whatever. And I'm trying to explain, no, the reduced penalties mod is like you are not at a world championship,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which for many events is going to be entirely appropriate. You're not at the world championship; it's a more
Um,
casual event. You don't need that level of
I,
enforcement.
so the argument for the chombo on the short hand, so not having enough tiles in your hand, is that it is a common. The problem is when you're trying to catch people cheating, people assume they're going to catch people cheating with the tiles in their hand. You never catch them like that, but you can catch them with not enough tiles on the table. Does that
Hmm.
make sense? And it's having too short or too long. Obviously, a lot of the time it doesn't mean that person has cheated. However, it is a warning sign and it does need to be punished harshly, unfortunately. And I would like to also stress that the way that the Chumbo penalty is established in WRC, you can easily recover from it. Easily.
It's
Um,
recoverable because it happens outside the game.
yeah.
Like if I win first place in that game, despite having accrued one chombo penalty, the game kind of just becomes a zero for me.
Oh,
Um,
you can just get lots and lots. Because remember, there's no bankruptcy. So
true,
you can
true.
recover the Chombo
But
and
like
more.
I'd say my average an average first place is probably going to be around plus 30, plus 40 for like a
Mm,
decent first place. Like a good one 50, 60, sure, sure. If I get a
mm.
plus 60 first place and a chombo, oh no, it's only plus 30. That's still good. And if I do make one mistake over the course of an event, yeah, the chombo for minus 30, like that's not death. As opposed to like the payout at the table chombo where you're giving points to other players. That has its own world
And
of
I
complications.
and I think people have the
Hey,
wrong
Muska.
attitude towards Chombo. Hey, Masca. I think the people have the wrong attitude towards Chombos. Chombos aren't necessarily that you're a bad person and you're bad
Hmm.
at Mahjong. The Chombo is to correct a problem that's happened at the play state, the game state, right? And not having enough tiles is a serious problem.
Yeah.
It's a serious, serious problem. And I think people need to. And so, of course, we don't. I think because a lot of us have come out from more kind of amateur beginner environments, of course, we have to be kind to those people, including myself. I got a chombo. I suffered from my own decision because at the last WRC in Vienna, I didn't have enough tiles because I forgot to draw my can replacement tile, and I got the chombo, and it fucking sucked. I hated myself. I hated every decision I'd made up until that point. However, it was still the correct thing to happen because I made a problem on the table that shouldn't have ever happened. Yeah. Anyway, I get Chumbo each WRC. It's a rule.
Yeah, one thing I'm mentioning in response is like that they're, if I actually would kind of be in favor of reframing the rules to have the lesser penalties built into the rules and then make WRC level penalties the modifier.
Yeah.
If we want to say everyone should run your events with WRC rules, then the default rules should be what we think is most useful for most events. And then we can say, like, when you're at WRC, we use this modifier that ups the penalties to what we think should be at a World Championship class event. And
Okay.
then if you want to play your event, sorry.
If someone will rewrite the rules to achieve that for me, yes. Okay.
Oh
Fine.
yeah, I mean this is all broad like things we could conceivably do. I'm just thinking of like if you say to people like these are the rules and here's the mod we use for high level events, it gives them better guidance on how to use them in their own events. And if I'm running a league or I'm running a local tournament or something, I can just say I'm going to use the rules as they're written. I don't need these mods. I'm just going to use the rules.
And do you know what? Like, I think that the goal of the mod document was good and the idea was fine. I think that the implementation and the practice that has come out of that has not been what we hoped would see. So, the post-mortem debrief, whatever we're going to call it. Yeah, I fully recognize there are problems with the mods document. I think it's too unwieldy to use for one. We were trying to throw a net really wide to make sure that people could come under the WRC umbrella without making the compromises that they didn't want to make. However, what we've done is we've created this halfway point, which really just makes it worse. So yeah, I take your feedback and take your point that maybe we just need to have a rules document with the lower penalties included. And then, as you said, a rule document, which is the WRC level, the WRC event level. I think part of the problem is that, we've gotten away with this because in Japan, you tend to have they tend to think of them as like flags. They're on or they're off, right? So we wrote the rule document.
Around them, so you're just like, yes, no,
exactly.
Yes, okay, cool.
Exactly. So we just they don't ever look at a rule book. They never look at a rule book. How much I beg them to, and they always just say, "What's on and off? What's on and off?" That's all I want to see, and so that we kind of that's that kind of culture and attitude is brought forward into the mod document. But I recognise it's not been very effective. It's not been a total fail, but it's really not been. Yeah.
Well,
not our shining moment.
I think the mod document has actually done pretty well in making people feel more comfortable saying they're going to use WRC rules because now they can use these mods to be like, oh, I'm going to play WRC because here's the rules for the thing that I wanted to do anyway, so I'm going to do it. It just helps harmonize it a bit, and there's going to be some tweaks.
Yeah.
And like I would agree. I do think the penalties. I mean, even in my league, we're using reduced penalty mod. Because I think again, people are learning and trying to improve. They're going to make these mistakes as human beings. I don't think anyone's cheating. No. So we don't need the penalties at world-class event level at the moment. And the other thing is, like, at the end of the day, they're still penalized actions. So, like, you're still going to learn to never do them. It's not like having the lesser penalties makes me say, like, Shohai's no problem. Like, if I have a few too few tiles in my hand, it's cool, man. I just do that all the time. Of course, you never want to do it. You're just not obliterated for when you make a mistake. And instead you can deal with it in a different way. The
pro move is to call the chombo on yourself, by the way.
Yeah.
I always make a big point of calling the referee to write the chombo down on myself.
I've done it.
Because otherwise you're making someone else do it and they'll be like, oh, Gemma's okay. She doesn't deserve it.
No. Yeah. If it's a mistake,
I pull that onto myself.
If the rules
right?
say it, the rules say it. Like, that's how it is. I don't want to get a try. Of course I don't want to. And everyone does it. Everyone does it, especially as you're learning. If you're nervous, if you're not thinking about things, like, you make a mistake. And it's fine.
But yeah. Anyway, yes. So the poor player who's talking to you, you don't have to use the really harsh penalties.
No. I think we can encourage that a little bit, but I think nomenclature-wise, in terms of what we do with the rule set, we might do better having the core rule set be what we think is applicable for the vast majority of events, and then saying like, well, at WRC we use really important event penalty level because we expect everyone there to be able to abide by this and never do these things ever. And then anyone who wants to say they're super hardcore can run their event with super heavy tournament. Hi, Siri. Can run their event with super heavy penalty level, and she's like, "Oh, we're running a hardcore event, just like that's your choice." But now you're saying you're adding to it.
That's a much better way of framing it, and I thank you because I've not actually thought about it in that sense. I've not had that kind of
Oh,
lens on it.
congrats on your
Yeah.
Nintendo Mahjong set. Yeah.
Yeah, be careful, CRA, because some people, I'm not sure which run you had, but there was a run of them that was not as robust as maybe it could have been. I have
Mm.
one.
Oh,
It's been
it's a good
okay though.
one.
It's been okay. It was expensive though. And
I
when
need
I
to
go to
get one.
Dave's house, I'm gonna pick up
You're gonna get your
my
line
line
Mahjong
brown
set. You're gonna
set.
get your line set,
Yeah,
and I'm psyched about that because it won't be in my house anymore.
I know. I love the weight of the Nintendo tiles. I love the weight of them. They feel great to play with.
I really need to get them. I really need to
Yeah,
get a set of tiles like that.
it's
So let's keep going with this game. Sorry for the interruption. I just did want to respond to them because they're in the middle of event stuff right now. And I thought their
yeah.
feedback was realistic. Like it does kind of suck when you have newer players who make these mistakes sometimes just because they're new. Having to be like
I love the
hand-ending
feedback.
penalty is rough.
Yeah,
Um,
I love the feedback. Critical feedback. I love it.
uh,
You've got to bring it in, otherwise we
it's about
can't make
honest
it better.
feedback. You know, I always tell people like you don't have to tell me everything's great, but if you can tell me your problems in a way that is like, tell me what the problem is. Don't do it in an abusive way. Do it in a factual way. What is the problem here? What do you feel isn't right? And
I
that's how we
can't
have the conversation.
I can't fix all of the problems, but yeah, I want what I don't want is this sort of this culture where you don't even recognize the problems are happening. It's always a risk.
All right, so
Uh,
South 3.
and
We
we're
can
in bad times now.
reach Pinfudor is what I see happening here, which like isn't bad.
Well, it would
Um,
lock me into a second place.
well, we got 2 hands left.
Perfect.
My mama told me. Winning this hand with Reach Pinfudora gets us a chunk of what we need, but maybe not enough. But we're going that way. West is ponging a dragon, which makes me a little nervous because now this is telling me West thinks they got some heat. They're probably going for a fast hand. Reach Pinfu
Yeah.
Ipeko Dora, all right. But now another. Oh God, everyone's grabbed these
And
dragons.
Tanya, sorry, don't forget Tanya,
Tanya,
maybe.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
could be Tanya Dora.
All right, so now we're Ishan 10.
No Dora.
Ishan
But
10. Well,
yeah.
yeah, no Dora. It's Dora or Tanya.
So yeah, exactly. So I've got that three hand either way. Either way.
Yeah, and
What I
if you
tried to
draw the
say
four
the wrong
pin,
way.
if you draw the 4-pin, you can lock in that Ipeko. So this is a pretty decent hand we're approaching, but our dealer just threw a Dora. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so we're going to drop the 3, and we're going to take the many different ways to Tenpai, because we can maybe get Reach Tanya. Do we care if we get Reach Tanya? Do we want Reach Tanya? I don't know. Statistically, we're in a very good spot. No. 4, 5, 6 is the closest bet we've got. 5, 6, 7 is not happening as Sanshoku. We don't care.
Siri says, I have a question about early Yakupon. If your hand as a Kanchan Wonderland has no value, the AI say pawn and go. Pawn and go, Siri. I'm with the AI this one time. Yeah, depending what spot you're in. So for our player on the left, Asan here, I'd pawn and go because really you're fighting out for third place here. If it wasn't going to push me or lock me into a position, I wouldn't bother. But here for Asan, they need to get their third place, so it's a good pawn. If they were in last and it was an easy last, then I wouldn't bother pawning. I'd try and find some value. Dunning said dump the 4-man for safety. At what point was that? Instead of the 7-man.
Oh, I see. Here, keep the 7, dump the 4, but I'm not sure what makes the 4 safe, so I'd be curious.
Why is the 4 safe? Yeah, I don't see the 4-man being safe. There's nothing on that 2-3. I'd be worried about the 4. Oh, so if we draw another 4-man, I'm not going to draw another 4-man. I'm manifesting.
9 man. We're just not getting what we
No, it's
want.
a good point, Dunning. It's a good point. Yeah, I'd not thought about that.
What we want. Here's another 4. We pick up another 4-man. Eh. Eh. Eh.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I did it.
Ay, and then we deal into West, which is the worst. For Hot Store Dora on a 9-pin, there's nothing we can do here. Ugh, this just sucks. I don't see any other path through this hand. Like, there's no combination of winning tiles here in our discards even, so we just did what we could do. We had to push it. Everyone at the table was... We scattered these dragons out early, which is something I like to do. but we also had so much potential in our hand, we really couldn't not.
Yeah. No, I think this was the right hand to push for. I'm not apologizing for that 9 pin.
Yeah, no. I don't see any other way through. Because I like to throw those dragons early because it makes people do things like this and just push for very cheap
Mm.
hands. But this hand wasn't that cheap. So
Sucks.
now we are in third place in
It
all
sucks to
last.
be me. It sucks to be me here.
Now, first place is 18,000 away, which means
They're gone. They're fine. They're fine. Ignore them. We are only going for second now.
Hanuman direct hit.
Hanuman directed.
Hanuman direct hit. Now, that's hard. I wouldn't say like that's what we need to guarantee, but
Okay.
be
Okay.
aware. Let's be aware. A Hanuman direct hit on
Yeah.
first place does get us into
Okay.
first place if that
Say
happens
that
somehow.
and then look at my draw.
Oh no. Again, it's not about in my mind. It's not about saying that's going to happen. It's
No.
about knowing it. It's about getting in the habit of calculating it. To hit first
Very
place,
right. Very
a
correct.
Hanuman
Yeah.
direct hit on first wins the game for me.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, pretty much even a 2. I think like a 2 and 30 sumo gets me second.
Second, right?
And we need a 3 and 30 direct hit to guarantee. Like a 2 and 30 direct hit on south gets me second.
Yeah.
And a 3 and 30 direct hit on east gets me second. So we know that's the thing. It's like you should get in the habit of figuring out all the numbers. Even if you're going to say, yeah, Hanuman direct hit on the guy in the lead is almost impossible. So I'm not going to like say that or bust. But you know what it is. And when you get in that habit, you can make the calls.
But that's partly why WSC implemented those little, I don't know if people go to the EMA events, at least we have the little squares that come out at the OLAS and people have to write down their delta, not their actual points, Dix. I have to shout that one more time. Their delta on there and put it in the middle. So everyone has an opportunity to take a beat and look at their delta. And then they can decide what they need to do depending on their metrics of victory.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. Yeah, check the numbers, figure out what you need to do to hit each of the different victory conditions right now. And then you're going to look at your hand and be like, what am I actually going to get done here? Because you're right. Like, this hand does not look to me like a Hanuman direct hit on first.
This is Dave's garbage. It's absolute
garbage. This is garbage. This is a bad hand. And it doesn't get any better at all. This is real friggin' bad. Like, we just got to hope that we draw 3 chuns.
I know, right? So awful.
This is really the worst. I'm sorry. This high pie came from a thrift store. I like that because it's probably true. Let's see where we go. We got 5, 6. We keep 1, 2 because sure, it's better than nothing. Oy, our first place person calls south because they just want to go. We drop the hots. We don't care. We drop the hots. We got 1, 2, 3. All right. We got 1, 1, 2. Sure, we'll keep it.
Well, because it's some value, right? It's my other hand. It's my other hand.
We got 5, 6, 7. Oh, we dropped this. Oh, I see what we're doing here. We got 2. All right. Suddenly, the tiles are giving us what we maybe need. A reach from across the table.
Fast enough.
And then reach from across the table directly into the dealer for this time. Not the dealer, sorry. The person first, like flush. Let's do it. Let's just go for the flush. Zonk.
That must have been an easy flush to build.
How long did they have that going on?
Well, since the 6-man, obviously.
At the beginning of they started building at the beginning of the game. They're just like, this is great. They got rid of the chun. The chuns were pretty much dead. Yeah. Then they widened it and just hung out. And now this hand for them is 1, 2, 3, 6. This is a bad weight also, but they're the last dealer, so they just want to get it done. This makes sense to me. Like, they got to get something going on in this last. It's a 30-10 reach.
Yeah, wow.
Wow. How do they do that to themselves?
They're trying
6,
to push
7,
us off, aren't
7,
they?
8. And they flattened it for 1, 2, 3, 3. See, this is one of those things.
Oh no! Do you know what? That's standard throw.
I wouldn't have done that.
I probably wouldn't on a 1, 2, 3, 3. Yeah.
I probably would have gotten rid of the 5.
But what if you get the 6? I don't know.
If I get
Yeah,
the
I wouldn't
six,
have
I can
done
throw the
that.
9. But at this point, at this
Sierra likes
point,
the pregnant shapes. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know what you call them. The fat shapes, the nakabukure shapes. Yeah, I don't like them. I think they're really
at this
clumsy.
point of an Ishan 10, I'd be saying this 5. I'd be looking at this 5 and saying like,
Oh, I'd throw the 3 pin. I'd throw the 3 pin.
yeah, I'd be saying this 5 is gonna screw me though. I'd be sitting here being like, this 5 is gonna screw me.
Actually, I was making an argument for keeping them in the turn, but yeah, I throw the 3 pin.
Yeah,
I don't
I think
see
the
why
three
I
pin is
wouldn't.
the better thing here, because well, this is Ishan 10 on. Well, let's see. This is Ishan 10 on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 man,
Hmm.
and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pin. That's not bad. While throwing the 3 pin still leaves 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 man, and
Right, but
9, 8, 7, 6. Yeah, it's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 pin. So
no,
it's a
because
similar
you
width.
can see. So yeah, what makes you tempi for the three, keeping the 3 pin is the 1 pin, the 2 pin,
The 3 pin.
the 4 pin, and the 5 pin. We can already see the one on the 2 pin, whereas the 5 man, you can't see as many of those around that. I don't
Yeah.
know. I throw the 3 pin personally.
It's also real easy to look back and say this. Like, it's real easy to look back
Yeah.
and say, oh, you should throw this versus that, knowing what else happened. But, like, throwing the 3 pin for the 6 pin is also something that worries me. Because I'd be like, why would I keep the 6 pin? That's just going to get me in trouble. I've
I
already
think so.
gotten
They
rid of
can
the
throw
7
the
pin.
one bamboo. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I do wonder as well if this player is played a lot of red fives,
Mmm.
and then so they've got into the habit of pulling their tiles into the center like that.
Yeah, but again, in this case, with the
Yeah.
6 pin, if I get that red 5, I'm pretty 10.
I mean, I think let's put ourselves in that player's shoes. They're last. They're dealer. They need to make something work, and so they'll start to rely on their instincts. And if their instincts have been forged
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
fires of red fives, then that this behavior makes a bit more sense if there are red fives on the table.
Yeah, and so then they get into this footy 10
Hmm.
reach position, which could have been a sumo for them, which is a little sad.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I'm just trying to sort of see from their perspective. Yeah,
It's
it's
rough. It's
difficult.
rough. It's the
It's
last hand of
difficult.
a really stressful game.
And do you know what? The game before, the game preceding this was very stressful. Like really ultimately stressful. Everyone came off that table like, Jesus, that was mahjong. It was a lot of mahjong happening at us very aggressively. And then we came onto this, and it's interesting how that very aggressive, very high points hands then translated into this very stabby game of mahjong. It's a very stabby hand game, this one.
Yeah, yeah.
And you've got to remember, so yeah, so this kind of, and we're all aware that we're all quite close to each other in the leaderboard, and this is all going to impact our mentalities, the way we play, the way the energy we're bringing to the table. So I thought it was interesting that we had huge hands in the previous game, and then we're all just like stab, here's a sumo, here's a reach, yeah, ignoring C was ruining it.
Well, they got
um
away, and once they got away, everyone was too busy. I love games like that.
yeah,
Once,
yeah.
if I'm the one who gets away, because once you get away, everyone's too busy stabbing each other.
Yeah, I mean, but
To
C really established themselves on the table like by the second hand, right? C had established themselves. I'm going to win this table. Just suck on it, guys. That's basically what they did by the second hand, and it was the right energy to bring to the table because the rest of us all just started doing little stabby hands at each other at desperation.
yeah, yeah, and
Um,
they were just out there, and they were able to just be like, "Yep,
yeah, C
I
is
got 10 points.
uh,
It's good
I'm
work,
frightened of you, C-san.
good work," and that brings.
It was a fun table. It was a really
Again,
genuinely fun
it's a
table.
good game because every hand had meaning. It wasn't a game of
Mm,
people doing crazy dumb stuff. It's like I feel like win or lose, a game like that is so much more enjoyable because you get a feel for you're feeling what everyone's doing. You're adapting to the
mm.
situation, and if you've played enough, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the material you need to win. But like making all the right moves or feeling like you're moving with the flow
Mm.
and doing things properly is really cool.
I mean, just imagine losing with 19,300 points. I mean, that's not a typical losing score. Even Desan should not feel shame. That's a
No,
typical
no,
third
no.
place score.
Desan didn't. Yeah, like a 19,000 third place is not a disastrous. Like yeah,
Yeah,
like even like your 25,000 third place says this was a close game.
Mm.
You know, this wasn't a game where you just screwed up and lost all your points and got obliterated. It's a game where everyone was
Yeah.
going back and forth, and you didn't get over the hump, but like it definitely does shows that you didn't goof. You
Yeah,
know?
it was a great game. Everyone played really, really well. But
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad we did the review because it was really that was the second hand of CSAN where they kind of bluffed the flush. That that's real mahjong. That's the
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
mahjong you
That's
dream of.
and I think it's important for people to do that, to look at your placements, but then also look at the scores. Because
Mm.
these scores tell me about this game is that this was a good game.
Mm.
Because everyone's doing what they needed to do and playing as well as they could, as opposed to, 60,000, 31,000, 10,000, negative 500, something like that, where it's like, okay, one person obviously just got completely obliterated, and one person just kind of hovered around and did nothing. No, this is a game that got played. Everyone was in it. And yeah, if you're getting third place, if you're starting at 30K and you get a third place that's above 20K, like,
Mm.
you really, I mean, you can look at your play, you can find things you can do better, but like that definitely is not a terrible game. That's
No,
not a
I
terrible
mean,
game by any means.
no. I mean, I'm not sure. We've had conversations about some of the discards, but there was nothing in there that I'm like, "Ah, I should have done better on that one."
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and it's I'm glad for it. Some of them I've had a third place. I'm like, geez, I could have had the second or first. So that's a refreshing feeling. But one thing I'd like to sort of ask you as well, Dave, and one
Mhm.
thing I found really, really fun being part of this Jankan League. I want to point out Chiral is the one who's organizing, and they've done a great, amazing job of herding the cats to keep this league going.
Big thumbs
Um,
up.
yeah, and do you know what? Online anything is worse for me than real life. I'd much rather organize a real life event than online. I just can't stand
I'm
organizing
a fan.
online
What do
stuff.
you, what do you mean? Online events?
So
Oh, no, online events
no,
are
but
fun,
in
but
real life events, everyone comes to the room and I can see them all.
hmm.
Online events, they can just wander off, and I don't know whether. Anyway, that's by the by. However, having that league event and having that mentality and the different psychologies that play out when you're in a league situation compared to an event situation, I've really, really, really been enjoying.
Hmm. Hmm. So what was the question? You wanted to ask me a question.
So I wondered if you have felt that in Armor. Like, is that the same thing that's happening in Armor? I'm not.
I've played in Armor for so many seasons.
Oh, okay. So, because Armor's
But
much bigger. Armor's much bigger, right? Whereas the Jankenron League is still quite small. And so everyone kind of knows who each other is, and you can look forward to meeting someone because there's not that many players. But I don't know,
I
because how many do you have per
I mean,
per
it's like
bracket, I
20 or
guess is
30
the
per bracket
question.
in Armor, if I recall. And there's a lot of brackets. So yeah,
Okay.
that's a good 100 people in Armor right now, at least. I might be understating it.
Okay,
I don't want to
but
under.
by cutting it into brackets, you're still basically replicating that sort of smaller
You do
group
kind of get
feel,
to know
right?
people. It's not entirely like, oh, who are these folks? Because yeah, you're gonna
Mm,
play the same people a few times. But I do broadly agree that like the league mentality is a different mentality.
right.
And you start thinking of and I think it's a good mentality to get used to, because you do start thinking of your play as part of a longer chain, and you get both less desperate and less um casual. Like
Mm,
you're less feeling like, because at a tournament, if I go to a tournament, I got 1 day to make a splash. I got to play big, and if I
mhm.
screw it up, oh my god, I've lost it. But like in a league, I have a lot of time. I mean, for our
Yeah.
league, I got 8 meetups. I got 4 months. I got lots of time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one mistake, and we're doing it with a streak
Yeah.
as your placement. So it's like, okay, one mistake is bad. A bad game, like, it's not good. I'm not psyched that I played it, that I lost a game real bad. But it's like, okay, what I got to do is I got to play the next one better. And even a bad session, it's a bad session. Okay,
Mhm.
we make the next one better, and we start building that consistency.
I guess that's what's been interesting for me is managing my psychology over 2 weeks. Because, you go to an
Mm,
event, I know it's 8-hand chan, I come in and then it's bam, 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 it's over, right?
right.
I have to manage my psychology for 15, 30 minutes in between the games. However, like, I think I did very badly, and Chirag can correct me, was it on the second session or the third session? I think it was the second session. I did very badly, devastatingly badly. I played
Oof.
appalling Mahjong. And then the 2 weeks running up to the next one, it was a real like, I'm excited that I'm going to get to play Mahjong again. However, I've got this awful memory that I'm carrying
Mm.
with me. And how do I let go of that baggage? I found that difficult, really difficult.
It is hard, I think. It is hard. Like, you have to get in that vibe of like, I can sit down and I can just get in the zone, play as best I can.
Exactly.
And I'm not
Exactly.
going to
And then,
be upset if I do poor. Of course you're going to feel something you do. No one's going to just
mm,
literally not care. But like, I'm not going to let myself get thrown if I do poorly, and I'm not going to let
mm.
myself, get like overexcited if I do too well. Negative 32.7 for a session isn't terrible. That's not terrible.
I played badly.
Hmm.
I wasn't, I don't know. I said, this one, I got third, but I came off it going like, wow, that was a good game. I played fine. It was a good game. And I was just beaten. I'm not saying that the players didn't deserve to beat me in session two. However, I didn't think they beat me at my best, if that makes sense.
No, that
They
makes
probably
sense.
could still have beaten me. I'm not going to lie that they argue that they wouldn't have beaten me anyway, but I want them to beat me at my best. And I think that's the sort of attitude you should bring and the respect to the game and your fellow opponents that you should bring every time. But I don't know. I'm in two minds whether having that length of time between the sessions actually makes it better or not. Because of course, if you're just playing, you've got 15, 20 minutes break between your games, it's very difficult to shake off the negative feeling of a bad beat, right? Um,
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think that like, what am I thinking? I have like a thought that I'm not putting together effectively.
hmm.
Um, I think it's like you need to be able to.
I
Um,
know it.
the ideal situation is every game is completely independent. Every game you start out saying, "Okay, here we are, new game. I'm starting
Mm,
clean," and that's really impossible unless
mm,
you're like literally like the Buddha. Like no one can be that entirely emotionally detached. I don't think unless
no.
they have short of extraordinary experiment. But I think League makes a good practice for that because on the one hand, like you have this connection between everything, and on the other hand, you have um, a lot of individual sessions. I agree with what you're saying about wanting people to beat you at your best. I think it also
Yeah.
is that. I think there's also that good feeling of like I'm here in the group of people that I play with regularly, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't get that weird feeling of like, oh no, if I do bad, they'll all think I suck. Because like you'll know if you're good or bad, and they'll know if you're good. They'll know if they're people. I've played with the same people for a long time. I have a bad day sometimes. They know it's a bad day. They don't
Yeah.
think I suck. They know I had a bad day.
Uh,
And so you can get that kind of comfort in a way of like these people aren't going to judge me for being terrible just
I
because
don't
I have a bad
know.
day.
I feel
Um,
worse. I feel worse not playing at my best with people I know because I'm like, I don't know. It's more that I just like obviously I respect them, but I feel like the best way to respect them is to bring my A game, and I just didn't. It's not that I didn't want to, but sometimes your A game just drifts away from you, right?
yeah, no one can be perfect every time. No one's going to be able to be perfect every time.
Hmm.
So you're right. Like, of course, you want to be bringing your best. You don't want to play badly and have a bad game with everyone. But I just think there's a lot of just
Yeah.
personal growth.
But this game we just shared, so there were two games, and it was interesting to me because it was 2 weeks of knowing that we were having this big game. Three big scorers on the league chart at that point in time were coming together. And I got like stressed. Is stress the word? It's a combination of stress, excitement, you know, intimidated. I don't know. And I had that hanging over me for at least a week. It was really like I thought about the game every day. I mean, is that weird? I thought about the game every single day. I'm like, oh, in X number of days, I'm playing this big game of Mahjong. It was important to me, really important to me.
Secret of Oh, I know that feeling. I know that feeling, Carol. I never want to win my own events. That's why I try not to play in them. I'm like,
Oh
I'm
no,
not here to
Corral, you
win
should
them.
win your own event. Everyone knows. No, 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 no. It's Jesus. If I win WRC, I'm going to be the
No, if
worst.
you
I'm
win,
going to
if you
be
win WRC,
intolerable.
that's fine. I think I might even get roped into playing in this WRC and doing terribly, and then everyone will be like, "Oh, we didn't know he was terrible at mahjong this whole time." But
No, no, no. Being able to play in your own event is the only thing that makes organizing an event bearable sometimes.
oh dear, oh
Because
dear.
especially if you're bringing, I mean, you've brought a lot of great players to this league, and so of course you're going to want to play it. Like,
I mean, that makes
if I'd have
sense.
organized it and didn't get to play these people, I would be pissed. And you're putting in all the effort and the work, and you can't cheat. It's bloody Tenhou. How can you cheat?
Well, that's true. You're not. It becomes a little more challenging when like you deal with uh rules, like being a playing ref. I don't like being a playing ref. That bothers me.
Yeah.
But
But then that's why I always, I mean, I'm often a playing ref in the UK, and that's why I would get someone else to make a call if there was a dispute on my table. And I would hope that everyone would feel, but I hope everyone would feel confident to challenge and say, Gemma, you're wrong. Gemma, this isn't right. Gemma, we need to get a second opinion. But I recognize that not everyone has that confidence. So if you're listening and you're playing on a table and you think I've done something dumb, I've only ever said on record once, do you know who I am? And that person fucking deserved it. So I'll tell you what they were doing. They were drawing the tile and then they put it back because they wanted to cheat. They drew the tile towards the hand. It was, kid you not, 5 centimeters, an inch near their hand. And then they put it back and they said cheat. And I was like, you can't do that. And they were like, oh, well, actually, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you know who I am? And then I realized that was not the right way to behave. And I called a ref and asked them to make the call. But who does that? The other one I was still completely baffled by.
A little aggressive.
Was someone who was aggressive, but like they could, but I kid you not, like 2 hands before that, they had been doing that thing where when someone had drawn a tile and they were the next to draw, they were holding the tile on the wall, like they put their fingers physically on their draw, and as soon as that player discard, they draw it. And I'm like, keep your hands off the table until it is your play turn.
Yeah, like you shouldn't be touching the tiles until the other player has discarded.
Yeah, this is not. This
what are
is
you doing?
This isn't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
What are you doing?
This isn't mahjong etiquette or anything. Like I'm like, this is just don't do this in a game, right?
I'd call a ref for immediately. I'd be like, this player drew out of order. They touched it.
Don't touch the fucking tiles.
You drew out of order.
Yeah.
If you're not drawing, then your hand should be way off this fucking table, friend. Like,
so I'd already been pushed to my limit by that action, but they were really being shitty towards me for saying like, oh, I was polite at that point. I was like, look, because I know that some Chinese casual mahjong situations they'll allow you to basically do that. They want to play as fast as possible, and that's the way it goes. Anyway, but I was like,
with friends at that point. You're playing with friends or people who know you. You should be playing with people who are cool with you.
So they were a local player. So I just said, in this environment, it's not appropriate to do that. So can you please sort of, make sure that when the player discards, then you can reach out for your draw. And they were like, blah, 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 being really shitty. And then they did that. Oh, cheat. No, I'm not having shit.
Well, really, if you weren't so hyped to draw, maybe you would have taken your second to think about it. Like why? I'm mad. I'm mad just hearing about it.
Janso, I have seen it. I have seen it exactly done. I've seen that in Janso, and but a lot of Janso will specifically say in their rules you are not allowed to do that. Yeah. I don't know. Like, if it's a casual event, I really don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, if it's casual play, if it's you and your friends, like I'm not here to police what people do with their friends that everyone's comfortable with. Like, whatever, man, do what you want. I don't care.
But that's the one time I've ever said, do you know who I am? And I regret it, and I shouldn't have done it. It was the wrong thing to say. I was really provoked, though.
Stop being bad. You should claim it. Claim your power. Just be like, yeah, do you know who I am? Do you have any
It's like, have you seen that golf professional on Twitter yet? And she's being like mansplained by someone about her swing.
I heard about this. Yeah,
it's a really funny video. Like, she's really polite. And it was a little bit like, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Well, it's again, sometimes, when people are really pushing on me, I kind of feel bad because I'm like, at what point do I tell them, like, not for EMA, but for WRC, that I wrote the fucking rules, so don't push me too hard.
Yeah, you should just give them a little bit of rope and then pull it taut. Like,
but it's difficult. You don't like, if someone comes at you and they think that you're a nobody, a no-namer, and they start doing, and because they're in a situation where they think that, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know who you. And I feel bad sometimes when people have had conversations with me and I'm like, they clearly don't know what I'm doing.
But like,
I don't want them to feel bad afterwards when they find out.
Then they should be careful about it. Like, just say things like, as far as I know the rules, it's like that. And as soon as you've hedged on the fact that you might not be an authority, it's when people try to act like an authority and they're not. If you're going to say like, hey, my understanding of the rules was that you can't do that. And I say this, you not knowing who you are, and I'm wrong because you wrote the rules. But by saying like my understanding, by putting my little hedge in and being a little polite,
Hmm.
You know, your response isn't going to slam dunk me if you're like, actually, you know, I happen to have wrote the rules and you're wrong. I can be like, oh, sorry, I
I
must
haven't
have understood
written
them
the
wrong.
rules,
You
by the
know,
way. Savan writes the
Savant wrote
rules,
the
but
rules, but like, I'm on the rules committee. Like,
I
I'm
am
intimately,
influential in it.
yeah,
I'm influential in it.
because I've now done the thing where I've said I'm not claiming to be the ultimate authority, but I think this is what should be happening.
So I was in a super awkward situation, which was not Mahjong related, which maybe informs my behaviors in this. So I was doing a university course in Germany,
Okay.
and it was like a lot of English people, and we were all there, and we were all chatting, and like I don't know, for some reason we were talking about, I'd been in China, we were talking about where we studied, and I'd studied in China and Japan, and we were just kind of chatting about the university experience, and the lady goes like, "Ha ha ha! Is it true what they say about Asian men's penises?" And I just looked at her, and I was like, "I'm married to a Japanese guy." I kid you not, like this table of 12 people were just like deathly silent of embarrassment. And I'm like, I kind of like I couldn't save that lady. There's no way I could have saved that lady.
Yeah, it's like what? What is it true? The disparaging, slurish,
Yeah, it's
like
this
stereotype? Is
horrible,
that what? Are we
offensive
having this
stereotype, right?
conversation?
Yeah,
Have you
exactly.
heard
And
the one
she's
about the Jews?
yeah,
Like,
I know.
what are we doing here? What are we
Precisely,
doing here?
precisely. I don't even know what possessed her to say it. Um, but that embarrassment, even though I was totally in the right, there was
Oh.
nothing I did wrong. She was being an absolute cow. Um, the embarrassment that I
Man.
made everyone else on the table feel will stay with me, and maybe that's because I spent too long in Japan.
No, but they don't have to be to some degree. They don't have. They're not the people who did this. They didn't. I mean, unless they were like high fiving her and shit. Like,
No, but the thing is, how do you row? I think because we'd all been having this really jolly conversation, like 12 of us, and then suddenly, how do you row out of that awkward confrontation,
hmm.
right? And yeah, I keep thinking like maybe there was a way that I could have thrown her a lifesaver here, like a raft or something, but I didn't. I was
Probably not. I
so
mean,
enraged in the second that she'd said it that I was like, "Fuck you, lady! I want to make her feel bad."
if she was your existing friend, then you have enough. You probably
No,
could.
I didn't know these people. I'd only known them for like 6 hours at that point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With an existing friend, you can probably throw some kind of like conversational distraction of like, hey, maybe we'll
Hmm.
just go this way instead. Ha ha ha.
Uh,
That didn't happen, and we'll go. But with someone you don't know,
it's just, it's just horribly racist. And I was just like, do you know what? I'm not letting you get away with it because we're ladies. Does
yeah,
that make sense?
that makes a
Like,
lot of sense.
like because we're just going to say disparaging things about men, I'm not letting you get away with it. It's racist.
Yeah, yeah. It just is.
I think Siri people did. I think maybe if I had, and that's the other thing. I guess if I hadn't immediately confronted it and challenged it, I reckon someone else would have done. Maybe I saved someone else from having the awkward embarrassment feeling. Those feelings that come in your mind at like, the boring hours of the night when you've got nothing to think about. And you're like, oh, I remember that time where I caused a horribly embarrassing situation. I didn't cause it, but I guess I did, exasperate it maybe or escalate it. But maybe I'm pretty sure someone else would have said something. I've got to be honest. So maybe I saved someone else. Maybe I should think about like that. I challenged and saved someone else from having to feel the need to challenge.
Yeah, I think eh, there's no easy answer to things like that. People say gross stuff sometimes, and when they do,
Mm.
like, you can either let it go by and laugh it off, or you say something to challenge. You're right, you say something to challenge. And a lot of times, I find myself in the position where I want to say something to challenge it,
Mm.
because if I don't, I feel like
It
I'm kind of
feels
saying it's
worse.
okay. I'm kind of saying
Yeah,
it's okay, and it really depends on what it is.
it feels
But
worse
I don't like letting
afterwards,
the
right?
nonsense go by. And that's just why I'm scared. That's
Uh,
why I was saying the other day I was scared to learn Japanese. I was scared of being told to say like, because I don't know if I did I say this on stream to just say that I think I just said this to you is what I'm looking at some of the Japanese of like, oh well,
uh,
if you want to say no, if you want to tell someone no, you just say, choto, and you
yeah,
trail off. And I'm
yeah,
like, and I immediately move to the point like, no, someone's gonna fucking challenge me on that. Like someone at some point when I'm like, hey, you want to go play racquetball, and I'll be like, choto, and they'll be like, choto what? Like
No,
what?
no,
What is
no,
it? What
no,
is
no,
the
no.
problem? It's a little what? Why don't you just say it? Can we just say it? Can you just tell me why you won't play racquetball with me, please? Let's all clear the air, friend. Like, say it. And I'm gonna be like, Shoto's the only thing I know how to say. Like, I don't know how to say an actual reason why I can't go to
I
racquetball.
think you're being too American here. I think if
Maybe
you
so.
said,
I'm just
I think if
like,
you said chotto, you're fine. I mean, if you really want to up the stakes and make it clear, then you say it's meiwaku.
it's me.
Then, then we all know. We all know you're fucking pissed.
I don't think I go that far. That far to
I
Milwaukee.
haven't, you know, and and I'm going to reframe it again. Like, I've been in moments where someone has said something that, in hindsight, I'm like, that was racist, right? But I haven't been quick enough on the uptake
It's
to understand.
hard.
And then you walk away and you're like, why didn't I challenge it right then? But your brain doesn't, because your brain is working in good faith, right? Maybe because I didn't know these people, my brain was already like, are these people good people or bad people? But someone I know said something that was, yeah, pretty racist. And because my brain was like, good faith, this person's operating good faith, therefore it's probably not racist. And then I came back that night and I was like, no, that was a racist fucking shitty thing to say. And I still
It
kick
can be
myself
hard.
for not
I think it
challenging.
can be hard. It can be hard to detect or determine in some cases. In some cases, it's obvious. You know, if
Mm.
someone's just like, "Oh, look," and then they start shouting slurs at people, you can be like, "That's racist." You'll know that's racist right quick, and you can be like, "Hey, that's not." Shut the fuck up. Like you know immediately like that's bad, and you shouldn't say that, and that's not okay. And then there are a lot of more subtle things that like you're gonna be like, "I'm not," and then also it's like you feel weird because if someone says something subtly insulting to me, I can be like, hey, wait a minute, fuck you. But it's
Yeah.
weird if someone says something subtly insulting to someone else to then dive in and be like, hey, wait a minute, you know, like it's kind of their thing to, it's their conversation. Should I be in it? Especially if I'm not sure and if I'm wrong, now I look like a big idiot. Like it's just hard. It's hard and it's challenging.
It's getting, I don't know, at the moment it's gotten worse. I was in an interesting conversation. There's been a lot of like pro-Palestine protests here. And it was interesting. I
Hashtag
was
challenging topics. Yeah.
a challenge but I was talking with a group of Israelis about it, and they said, well, actually, there's a big difference for us. No, I don't want to say this is for all Israelis,
Well,
but
this,
they
this is
said
what
there's a big difference
people said.
for between us for between a big difference between a pro-Palestine march and an anti-Israeli march.
Well, that's because the
And I
whole
was like, that's an
thing,
interesting framing, and I'd not thought of that before. I
the
was just
whole
like, huh,
thing
not
is
thought of that.
very, very divided because there's very
Hmm.
many groups. There's very many groups and many areas of valid opinion about a complicated topic. This is our favorite thing to talk about on the stream, right? Valid opinions about a complicated topic. Like, I also bear no ill will at all for people who, hopefully consistently, hopefully you just didn't start in the past few months, but who say the way the Palestinian people get treated in Gaza and in the West Bank is inhumane, and I don't like it, and they should be treated better, and Israel abuses them and does not treat them the way they should. I think that is an entirely valid and real opinion to have. I think it is highlighting a real problem, and I do not think that is an I don't even think that's an anti-Israeli sentiment per se. It's an anti-actions of the Israeli government sentiment.
I think,
definitely
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think it's an anti-Semitic sentiment in any way, shape, or form.
I think suggesting that we should try and stop people dying.
Yeah. Suggesting that we
Well, we're going to get, no, I don't think lefties are going to cancel me for this. Because those lefties, I can go far fucking left than those fucking lefties.
Can you really?
Oh, I can go very left.
Things like that, though, get into this murky territory, right? Because at the end of the day, again, this is where it gets gross. So I'm just going to say some stuff that's difficult.
You can
right?
say it, and I've tried desperately to stay out of this topic. It's only because it was confronted with me this week that I was like, okay, I guess I have to have a thought.
I live in and I enjoy the economic protections and benefits of a country who, if you stub our toe, will bomb you into the dirt. Let's be real. Let's be real. I don't necessarily want this to happen. I don't necessarily approve of this happening. I don't necessarily like this happening. But
it's so refreshing to hear that from an American.
Like there's no pretending this isn't true. Look at the Houthis. I mean, the Houthis.
I'm half a bottle down now, Pez.
The Houthis killed 2 American soldiers. That's bad. I don't want to see anyone dead. Again, I want to be clear about my own personal feelings. I don't want
No, no,
anyone
no, no,
harmed. I
no,
don't
no.
want anyone dead. But the Houthis killed 2 American soldiers, and everyone here is laughing over the fact that we are going to bomb them into the Stone Age.
Mm.
You know, everyone, yeah, of course, you messed with us. Of course, like, you shouldn't have messed with us. You shouldn't be bombing ships. You shouldn't be doing this. And we are going to rain death upon you at a
Yeah.
scale you maybe can comprehend, but probably
So
not.
I'm
And,
always
like,
reminded of that point, and this is again, this is like a British American observation. Like we speak the same language and our cultures are fairly similar, apart from these certain points where I'm like, wow. So I remember when 9/11 happened, and
hmm,
then George Bush came and he was standing in the rubble of the towers, and then they just started shouting, America, America. And I'm like, wow. At no point, like, could I imagine you getting a group of British people shouting Britain, Britain? We'd be like,
oh, come on.
jeez.
Hold on. Maybe not today. Go back a
Oh,
couple hundred.
we're
Go
not
back a
trying
couple
hard
hundred
enough.
years. Go back a couple hundred years.
No, go back a couple hundred years, you still wouldn't achieve it. And this is so I'm going to point. So I'm going to raise as an example.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a football game, an
Except for the
international
World
football
Cup.
game where England are playing another even when the World Cup happens, even when the World Cup happens, England are playing Germany, whatever. Yes, we'll all support England, but if you look at the flags, every single flag has written their hometown on it.
Hmm.
Because that is our true allegiance, our home areas in the UK. We're very attached to them. You look at our dialects and our cultures, and that's why I laugh when people talk about British values. British values are diverse just in our tiny little island. I could tell you whether you come from this town or a village a 10-minute drive away by your accent. That's how almost divided, but also for me, I think it's not a negative thing. Um, I think it would be really hard to get people to shout Britain. I think it'd be really tough. Rule Britannia, I mean,
I
you can
mean,
get certain groups to say it, but that's. Do you know? If you just like shouting Rule Britannia because it sounds better than God Save the King. God Save the King is an
everyone likes it.
appallingly
Again,
boring.
but again, you say all these things, but it's like you definitely didn't have a globe-spanning empire whose will was enforced by hundreds of thousands of
No, no,
soldiers.
no. But that's the elites. That's the people above
The
us. I'd like to
soldiers
point
weren't
out.
the elites. I mean, the
No,
officers were the
no, no,
elites.
no, 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 no. That's again, there's a good difference between the Britons and the Americans. Our military has always been populated by the elite. It's a very important point. You read Pride and Prejudice. They're all trying to marry soldiers.
Well, they're trying to marry officers. They're not
Yeah,
trying to
okay,
marry
but there's a
rank
myth
and file.
about
You're right.
they've
You
got
know,
a lot
the
of officers.
officers, the
They've got a
officers
lot
were
of
the
officers,
elite,
and
but
the
the
thing,
rank and
office,
file soldiers were for
yeah,
sure not the elites.
and that's the good point, and that's another point. When look at the world wars, as the officers were there dying with the rank and file.
True.
Blackadder goes forth.
Blackadder goes for.
Precisely. It's a different mentality in that respect. Like, yeah, if you were in the military, we don't assume that you've been, recruited for some backwater nowhere and that was your only option.
Well, that's a different issue. Although I will say that America in its first 1 or 200 years also has a tradition of officers being elites.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean,
just think,
it's carried directly over. It's
yeah,
the same
yeah.
the same ideas.
I know. I think, yeah. I think when I saw George Bush do that, I was like, huh. I mean, that was what? God, how many years ago was that now? A long time ago.
23.
23 years ago. Fucking hell.
Yeah, a little more than
Our
a little
world is
less than
still
23 actually. 22 and
our
like three
world is
quarters.
still formed by that entire day.
Yeah,
That's
it
crazy.
all comes together. It all
Yeah,
comes
but
together.
so yeah, we are 20 years down the line, as you point out, and maybe we could get British people to do that. But at that point when they did that, I found that a very alien feeling.
Um,
I wouldn't even put up a British flag. I wouldn't resonate with a Union Jack at that point at all. Yeah.
I mean that makes sense. I think it's difficult and nationalism is a little weird.
Hmm.
But like it's hard to. I think this all circles back. I was saying when you have people protesting and insisting on a ceasefire, um, you know, it's hard to conceptualize. There's a few ways to conceptualize it, and I think one of the challenges around that is, and the reason people are so unhappy with it, is when you have a nation that gets attacked, that suffers a
Hmm.
major attack,
Hmm.
and they are like, okay, well, someone attacked us, and they sure are going to suffer consequences for that. and again, time matters here. A lot of factors matter here. I'm not saying there's an absolute answer, but to very immediately go like, no, 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 you need to stop, you need to stop. And it's like, what? We spent how many years in Afghanistan? We spent how many years in Iraq?
And maybe you should have stayed in Afghanistan a little bit longer.
No, maybe we should have said, well, that's a separate issue entirely. Maybe we shouldn't. But like we did all of that, and people didn't like it. It's true. It's not that all Americans were big thumbs up about it, but like at the same time,
no, same here. There's huge protests.
You can't pretend that a country that gets attacked doesn't have the right to do anything. That they have to just stop because responses would be unpleasant. And it's like, I don't know. It's just not how the world works.
I'm desperately thinking of a way to segue this back to Mahjong, and I am struggling. I'm not going to lie.
I mean,
yeah.
the answer is like a lot of things in Mahjong. The segue is that it's a complicated situation. There's not a right answer. There's not a right answer. There's multiple different parties at the table, and they all want something different. And
that is why, okay, I've got a segue. All world leaders must be forced to play and learn Mahjong before they're allowed to be elected. But do you not think Mahjong is the perfect game if you want to really think tactically? And strategically.
I actually think Mahjong has a lot of good lessons for people. I think there's a lot you can learn from taking up the game and playing it seriously.
You just want but you want this back to the C-suite. You want the C-suite playing your table.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine Liz Truss
in on this. Yeah,
she'd be so bad at Mahjong.
She'll be like, the deep state changed my tiles, and that's why I wasn't able to win.
What the fuck is the deep state?
The deep again, it's just God.
God.
Deep state is. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I'm wrong. The deep state is just the devil.
Okay,
just the devil.
But then this is the interesting thing I always find interesting about CPAC and stuff, is they're very obviously prosperity gospel driven.
Yeah.
So, but then I assume in the prosperity gospel that if you're succeeding, that means God is smiling on you.
Yeah.
So if they're not succeeding, the logic goes that God is not smiling on you. So shut the fuck up, Liz Truss.
No. You don't understand. You don't understand how this works. It's all a good logical loop. Because if you're succeeding, then God has blessed you. If you're failing, you deserve to succeed. God wants you to succeed. The devil is stopping you. As long as you subscribe to the logic, God always wants you to win.
Tyrell, I'll have you as PM. I don't want to be PM. Yeah. I will be your treasurer or something if you want. I'll be your I'll be your home secretary.
Yeah. Once you subscribe to the logic, God always wants you to win, and you're either winning because God made you win, or you're losing because the devil is fighting you so hard because he needs to, because you're one of the smart God people.
I think the devil has dealt my Mahjong tiles sometimes.
It's possible.
So let's bring it back to Mahjong for the last 7 minutes. Dave.
Yes.
Why didn't you come on stream last week?
Because last week was the first Alpha League. So we've started our Sparrow's Nest League.
You can tell they're nerds because they haven't even got to beta yet. They're going for alpha.
With alpha, the league's for alphas. We're not nerds. We're very.
Oh, you're all alpha males.
Yeah, we're all alpha. Well, and there are some alpha ladies in there too. But
there's some alpha ladies too.
You're equal opportunity alphas. Everyone's an alpha.
Sigma. I was about to say, can I be a Sigma?
You can be if you sit there neither winning nor losing, you get to be it. You're playing Sigma Mahjong right there. You got your Sigma grind set. But it was the first session of our Alpha League. We had 16 people come out for the beginning of what we want to be our serious pro league. We're going to have 8 sessions over the next 4 months, every other week. And your best streak of 9 is your score. So we've had a lot of interest. It's been really cool. And we're going to be working on growing that. This alpha season is really just to get a feel for it, iron out some of the kinks, figure out how it's going to work. And then we're going to be pushing forward, starting to put up, media, player profiles, stuff like that.
I'm excited.
I don't know who here can make it, but if you can make it, we'd love to have you join us.
And Bez has raised my New York trip. Are we going to stream when I'm in New York?
We should. It'd be pretty cool to stream from the same room.
We will be. You've got better lighting as well.
It'd be crazy. When is? Let me see the dates. You're gonna be here.
I think the Saturday. Well, hi, Mahjong Jen. Yay! Thank you for joining.
The Saturday is.
I think the Saturday is the Karen event, no?
Yeah. But we can stream before. We can go a little early.
Hmm.
and stream before, and then we can have our wonderful Karen event. And then that's
I'm
it.
gonna eat so much food in New York. Like I'm already way bigger than I should be, and I'm gonna get even
You
bigger.
gotta tell me what you want. We gotta do all of
I
it.
want bagels. I already said
That's easy.
bagels.
That's easy. I don't have to make a plan for that.
I don't know. I want good food. I
I was
just
gonna say
want.
Karen. Yeah, we can hang out with Karen a bit while she's here. Um,
I mean, like it's New York's just got good food. I
yeah.
don't have to worry. I don't have to
Everything
game
we need
plan good
everything
food in
bagel
New
for
York.
sure. Um, well, we can get you your Ukrainian food. We can go to
Uh,
Veselka, get some Ukrainian food. There's a
we've
lot of
got a lot of
Ukrainian food.
Ukrainian food here actually, because we have a lot
Uh-huh.
of Ukrainian refugees at the
Mm.
moment in the town. So Ukrainian food is really easy for us.
That's really
But
cool.
Chinese food would be good because the Chinese food in
And
this
Anne
town
knows what's good there.
sucks.
Anne knows what's good there. She
Yeah,
can
I
help
like
out with that.
like if you got like Sichuan food, I really love Sichuan food.
I once went to a fancy Szechuan restaurant and the waiter came
Oh
up to
my
me.
God, that's what I want.
The waiter came up to us and was like, "Oh, we want Szechuan food." So my friends were in China. They love the Szechuan food there. And he goes, "Well, actually,
Yeah.
he goes, it's good, but Cantonese food is better."
No,
And I'm
no,
just
no,
like, "You
no, no,
work here.
no,
What are
no.
you
I mean,
doing?"
I like Cantonese food, but the Sichuan food where like you feel like you might die if you put it into your mouth, but also you need to eat it because it's
There's a
that
place
good.
like that literally right down the street.
This is what I want.
I'll show you. I'll show you in a little bit. But like, it's really, really good. I think you'll. I love eating. I eat there too much. I
Yeah,
have too
sorry,
much.
sorry, Jen. We're not jogging at the moment.
No, we're
We've
just
done
about
our
done because
jogging.
I actually need to get going.
We've
We
done
need
our
to be on
jogging.
time
Now we're
so I can be on
gossiping
time to
about
open up Sparrow's
food.
Nest. But yes, you are right, Dongwon Fongwon. That yeah, in New York you can get all this stuff right next to each other, which is really
Sichuan
really
tasty
cool.
mahjong.
And Szechuan tasty
Yeah.
mahjong.
The problem is every time I see people saying Sichuan bloody mahjong, all I can think of is an English person swearing about mahjong.
Bloody yes,
Oh, sorry, you've been
Szechuan.
here
I'm
for a
playing
while,
Szechuan
mahjong Jen.
bloody
Sorry.
mahjong. Oh my god. All right. So unfortunately, I got to be on time because I got to get down for our meetup
Dave's busy.
to make
Dave's
sure to open
busy.
on time. Got to be prompt. I keep meaning to move all my equipment down there so I'd be down there and ready already, but unfortunately, I am
We should do that.
smothered
And then
with
I won't have to
stuff.
look at your bed. And is that your bag on the back of a chair there?
It's not my bag. It's someone else's bag.
It's someone else's bag. It's a bag on them. Anyway, like maybe less bedroom vibes would be
I thought that
nice.
was what you wanted on a stream. I thought that was what was good.
I think that was
You feel
good
like
10
you're
years
there.
ago
You're
now.
right. You're in it to win it with everyone. It's like you're
No, no,
guests. You're
that's the
hanging out with
olden
me.
times. Now
Oh,
everyone has like proper green screens and shit.
damn. I thought it was supposed to seem real. So you're just like, I was like, I'm hanging out with Dave, just sitting around having a Dave time.
This is exactly what it's like hanging out with Dave, by the way. He's mostly sat at a computer.
No, I'm pacing. What are you talking about?
Oh, pacing, that's
I'm
true.
not pacing during
He's
the
been
stream.
very
I need a
kind.
pace
He's
cam, the
pacing.
Dave pace cam, so I can pace around and give my
Like
monologues about how
trying
the
to
world should
decide
be.
where we're going to eat takes about 2 hours because he's
Oh my
pacing.
god,
I
fine,
have to
fine. We'll
wait.
go.
I have to
We'll
wait for him
just
to
go for
re-enter
it.
the room before I can talk to him again because he's going back and forth, back and forth.
This cat's gonna like you though. If you don't mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I'm sleeping on your couch. So is the cat gonna like touch my face with its paws? Like what kind of
Maybe, but
cat
not
is
while
it?
you're sleeping. He doesn't
No, whilst I'm
like
sleeping, that's okay.
he likes to be around, but he doesn't like to be like. He's not a very jump on you type of cat.
That's good. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd cope. I stayed at one person's house and they had like 3 kittens, and all of those kittens were
Oh my god.
wanting to like touch your face
Oh
all
no 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 no
night.
no no no. He does. He's not like that. He
Okay.
like he did like to touch the keyboard that I built though. When we were building it, he saw we were all fussing with it, so he came over and he just kind of like put his paw on it too,
Oh
because
my
he's like, I'm
God.
helping. I'm here
I'm
with
looking
you.
forward to meeting this cat.
He's a very nice cat, but he's not a very cuddly cat. Like if he wants to hang out with you when you're sleeping, he'll go to sleep like there near you, but he's not like an on top of you or like all over the place.
Yeah, maybe Gemma's it's especially touchable.
It's
It
fine.
is
Maybe if you carry him around like a baby, he might do that.
a...
'Cause he gets that way. Anyway, I'm gonna go
I'll
and be
update you
prompt
guys.
to not leave my people waiting. So
Right.
thank you all for joining us,
Thanks,
and
guys.
we'll see you
We'll
probably
talk
next week.
more mahjong next
Yeah, we'll
time.
talk
We,
more
we
mahjong.
derailed several moments.
Yeah.
The game was not long enough to
No,
talk
but
about.
it was a really good game.
It was a good game. Thank you guys if you were
Yeah.
playing that game.
Thanks for joining us. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye for now.